In here. Okay. I believe that we're live and we're feeding out to the folks out there. So if folks can hear us, if there's any audio problems, this is a good time to let us know. We are of course going live here on Utreon. If you want to join us live on Utreon, it's easy. Go to Utreon, search WMMF podcast or Who Moved My Freedom, and you're gonna see this. We go live typically Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern to 9, unless there's stuff going on, which happens. If you want to find out about all these different ways of joining us or even ways of supporting us, you can go to hankstrange.com. We have a whole brand new website there built by the folks at 2A Commerce. So if you go to the new hankstrange.com, it's built by 2A Commerce. Lola and I, and by Lola and I mean Lola, is is adding stuff to that or whatever. So if there's things missing or whatever, Lola is working on it. But the site basically itself was built by 2A Commerce. They did an awesome job. And actually, if you need a website built out there, if you're a content creator like myself or a company in the industry, you can you can absolutely get those guys to build you a site. All right. That being said, I am going to kick off the show here. Let's do this thing. Let's do it.
Welcome back to the Hank Strange Situation, Lifestyles of the Locked and Loaded.
We wouldn't be able to keep the Who Moved My Freedom podcast going without the support of great companies like Franklin Armory. Franklin Armory provides 100% US made firearms and awesome binary option triggers. Their focus and purpose is to provide freedom tools to all Americans, especially those in not so free states. So when you're in the market, please consider Franklin Armory. All right, boom, there we go. Okay, got an extra person up in here. Okay, we are live. Let's see here. Let's start with the jazz hands. Here we go with the jazz hands. I hope you guys and girls out there have your big girl panties on. There are male big girl panties, in case you're wondering. We call them boxer briefs. Um, so we are live here. This is episode 853 of the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. And my guests, we are going mano a mano, one on one. I don't know what's mano a mano is hand to hand, Rolando.
Mm-hmm.
What's one on one in Spanish?
I mean, uno a uno.
Uno a uno, is that it?
Yeah,
but people don't use that, right? That sounds.
nah, not really. There's probably a better term for that, but
Yeah,
I
it
don't
sounds
really know.
crazy. If you guys know out there, let us know. But my guest is Rolando, Puerto Rican Pistolero. What's up, man? What's going on?
Not too much. Not too much. Good to see you. It's been a while since I've been on the show. Glad to be back.
Glad
I
to
know
have you
that
back.
my lovely wife and better half has been on more recently than I have,
Yes.
but I'm glad to
Well,
be back here.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm not going to complain.
Hey, she's better looking than I am, so what can I can't complain either. I can't blame you either.
Not that I don't enjoy hanging out with you and your dulcet tones. you know. But no, listen, shout out to her. How's she doing?
She's doing pretty good.
How's
She's probably
Joanna
working
doing?
right now. She's out of state on work right now.
Okay.
So, but we let the people know. We usually let people know after she gets back from the trip where she was.
Okay,
So,
understood. Yes.
yeah,
Operational security.
OPSEC exactly.
Yeah.
So, but she's doing well, and she's having a good time so far. She's traveling most of the day yesterday, and she made it safely, and now she's been working all day, and she's in a different time zone. So,
hmm
I'm thinking that she's still working right now. So.
All right, cool. Yeah. I know that's tough, man. It seems, for people who haven't done it, it seems so much fun and so sexy. Oh, I'm out on the road
Mhm.
traveling. When you're in love with someone, you're married, whatever it is, and there's a certain amount of time that when you're on the road without that person, it starts becoming very painful.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit more used to it. It's funny. I always thought that I was going to be the one that was traveling a lot,
hmm
since my dad was in the military all my life. He was in the military in the Navy for 25 years. So I was always used to that lifestyle of moving every 2 to 3 years, and my dad being gone all the time. Usually on 6-month deployments.
hmm
And I wanted to do that when I was younger, but I had a medical condition back in the day, which I don't have anymore, but I wanted to get into the ROTC programs. So they
Okay.
were pretty strict about having anything. So
Mm-hmm.
I ended up getting my engineering degree instead, and working for in technology for the
Okay.
past 10 or 11 years for the same company.
Yeah. It's still an experience. I'm sure you traveled a
Oh
lot
yeah,
with your, with your
yeah.
folks.
But Joe never really expected to get a job traveling, so it was kind of a surprise. But it was a friend of hers
Mm-hmm.
recommended her to the company, and she already knew what she was getting into
Mm-hmm.
based on his experience. But it's a good job, and she's got a lot of opportunities, and
Yeah.
so it'll be a sacrifice. I think I'm kind of used to it again because I grew up with that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So so we'll see. But she's looking at all the different opportunities there at that company, and eventually she can probably go to a different position where she doesn't have to travel so much.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Throughout your life, they'll, things change, right? The way that
Yep.
things go down, it changes. And it's a good thing. So, obviously sometimes it's tough to do it, but, and absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? What is it? Absence makes the heart grow fonder, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we
It's
always
true.
try to, we obviously talk every day
Mm-hmm.
whenever she's done at work.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, we can, or she takes her Nintendo Switch so we can play video games and do all that stuff. So
Okay, cool.
eventually we'll probably find a way to do the show on the road
Mm-hmm.
with her because she's got the setup to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be something that we do in the future when we want to do more episodes during the week. And
Yeah.
because she usually travels during the week.
Who's the ranter out of you two guys? Are you both ranters, or well, I don't know. I
I,
don't know
I,
why
I
I'm asking this question, because I know for a fact that Joanna can rant.
yes. Well, I guess I was the original ranter. And
Okay.
once Joe got comfortable really
Mm-hmm.
feeling that, well, I can say whatever the hell I want on camera
Mm-hmm.
and feel totally fine about it.
Mm-hmm.
Then she's got some pretty epic rants there, especially when it comes to just a lot of Joe was always, I mean, since I've gone out with her, I
Mm-hmm.
saw her progression from, being kind of a Democrat voter to now being red pilled throughout that entire, 10 or 11 years that we've been
Mm-hmm.
together.
Mm-hmm.
And actually it's almost 11. Yeah, it's 11 years this year.
Mm-hmm.
And
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've seen her progression, how she's gone. And even now it seems like every week, well,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with everything that's happening, even people that have been hardcore red pilled for a while, we get angry every week with all this stuff.
Tell people about the
So
show. By the way, I see some people talking about you're mentioning military service.
awesome.
Edward Andrews says military family, wife and me, U.S. Navy, 23 years.
Awesome. Thank you for
Um,
your service.
yeah, shout out to all the other folks out
Hmm.
there and some other folks talking about, because you mentioned like you wanted to go into the military.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that happens. I honor and respect those who served. I didn't serve either. I
Hmm.
graduated high school in 1988, and a lot of my friends went off to the first Desert Storm. But at that time, I actually didn't have a legal immigration status.
Hmm.
So my parents didn't want me, like, there was two things. I couldn't go to college. I had a full scholarship to St. John's University. I couldn't take it up because of that. And then I was like, well, I'm gonna go into the military. I did selective service because you have to. And we were
Hmm.
doing paperwork at the time, to get legal status. But yeah, I wanted to go into the military. My parents were like, yeah, you can't do that either. You'll mess us up. So I didn't do it. Later on, I learned that that's not really true, because I think there are people who went into the military as a way to help expedite um,
Citizenship.
their citizenship. Because I
Hmm.
know that Lola's brother, he did that. He just recently retired from the army, and he came here and went right into the military. So yeah, so that's that. And I wanted to say there is like this new. We're trying to organize stuff around here, Rolando. Yeah, exactly. So,
It's easier said than done.
yeah, so some of this is automated. So I don't know if you could see it on the screen, on the bottom of the screen. Like right now it says welcome. So that's for, like,
Oh,
we're
cool.
welcoming you as a guest
Hmm.
here. We're going to talk about you in the time we have left. We've got like about 12 minutes to do that. There's a countdown there. Everyone can see it. People have requested I do a little ding like this. So this is a test ding. If you hear that,
Ooh,
You hear that? There's 1 minute left, but you can see the countdown at the
cool.
bottom there. Then we'll go to the next subject. And that way, you guys out there in the audience can get used to this and you could suggest questions or stuff you want us to talk about, etc. We're doing this on Utreon so we can show guns. So there will be
Cool.
guns. I do have guns here that will show off. We'll see who knows what that is. I just showed there. But tell the folks out there first. I want to do this because I want to help you guys podcast grow. Tell us, what's the name of the podcast? What is it about? And even where's your numbers right now?
Yeah. So my wife and I started the Locked and Loaded Latinos podcast in I think it was July of 2020 now already. Wow, that's crazy. And
Oh,
so we just made it to this will be our 75th episode this week. And we do it once a week on Sundays on YouTube at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and it's usually for 2 to 3 hours. Sometimes if we have guests, it easily goes to 3, almost 4 hours sometimes. So we don't really put a cap on that. It's pretty much how we feel, but usually a minimum of 2 hours. And we talk about pretty much everything, Second Amendment news that's going on, our opinions on it, and then we also talk about pop cultural issues and things like that, because really our goal was to try to normalize gun culture and show a different side of really the gun community. A lot of times you see, well, the media stereotypes the gun community in general,
mm-hmm. And
and a lot of
the
times,
people that are in there, they
yeah,
make up who's in there. Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly. And then sometimes even within the gun community, we love to talk about guns so much because sometimes depending on where you live, you might be almost closeted, or you just don't really have people around you that can talk about guns. So I see that's everybody in the gun community really gravitates toward, let's talk about our guns, let's do all that stuff. But sometimes I think to try to bring other people in, if you talk about movies, games, things like that, and throw the guns in there at the same time and talk about it all, it's kind of a different way to introduce people. And they're like, oh man, really? These guys are into guns?
Yeah.
Especially seeing a husband and wife together doing it. Obviously, you can see our background, what we're into,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it really it's a cool approach. And I've been seeing more and more podcasts lately, not necessarily gun podcasts, but I've been seeing more of the pop cultural and gaming podcasts move over to freedom, because obviously everything over the past few years, the First Amendment has really gotten encroached, and we've seen a lot of movies and TV shows go woke. So that's waking up a lot of people that maybe they were conservatives or pro Second Amendment or pro freedom libertarian people before, but they weren't necessarily that active. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they were apolitical, or maybe they just voted Democrat because that's a cool thing to do, but they weren't really politically engaged. But now that they've seen kind of the cultural war that's gone on, they're talking much more about freedom and things like that. And you have
Mm-hmm.
guys like Eric July, who's been doing that for a long time, and he really does a great job of incorporating all those things. We got to interview him at Maj's Solutionary Summit in
Okay.
September,
Eric
and
July, what does he do?
he is he's almost like a libertarian. I guess he's more almost towards the anarchist side of things now. I think
Okay.
that's where a lot of libertarians are kind of going.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also a musician, so he's part of a metalcore group. So he can almost like Linkin Park is how they sound. He also does rap. And
Mm-hmm.
he right now his big endeavor is, because DC and Marvel have gone so woke, he's invested the last year to create his own comic book universe. So he's going to be
Mm.
unveiling that at the end of this month to
Okay.
really compete
Interesting.
against those industries. So he talks
Okay.
about freedom, libertarianism, all that stuff on top of the comic books and
Mm-hmm.
movies and things like that.
Yeah, I'm all about that, man. We need to. There's a couple of things that you said in there that I agree with, right? I think it's good for people to see not only you guys Latinos,
Mhm.
but you're folks that are into Marvel, you're into gaming. People need to see that the people who are gun folks out there are not this one monolithic stereotype of who
Mhm.
we are, not just color, but what we're interested in, the things that we are. I mean, some of us are, incredibly creative people, and you might think, oh, all the creative people are all, like peace Nazis or whatever.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
I always say peace to people, and I believe like if you want peace, if you seek peace, you have to prepare for war. I
absolutely.
yeah, I want my life to be peaceful, but that means you got to fight for it. You have to be able to defend it, and we are in all kinds of different flavors and all that. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing to show. And then the other thing that I agree with in what you're saying is it's so tough now to find entertainment, things to consume, just sometimes to unwind, right?
Mhm.
Um, that doesn't have these seated subliminal messages trying to push us into a corner. It's really tough. Um, you were talking about like Red Pill. Have you guys seen the new Matrix, the Matrix
Oh
Resurrection?
yeah,
Oh
we
my
talked
lord.
about it pretty heavily
Uh-huh.
on our show,
Yeah.
just how bad it was. But
It was horrible. I didn't even see the end. It was so
yeah,
bad.
Joe walked out halfway through, and then I was
I
like, no,
fell
I gotta
asleep, dude.
finish. I gotta finish this thing. I gotta see this
You
through
saw
and
the end of
and
that
really
thing,
believe it.
cause and
Oh yeah, it was
oh
bad.
yeah,
But
it was so bad. And I got a haircut today, and my barber was telling me how he was like, dude, did you see Matrix? I said, yeah, yes, unfortunately. He was like, that thing was horrible. I don't know anyone that thinks that was a good movie, but I fell asleep. Usually Lola falls asleep. I fell asleep, and then I woke up when it was over. I think Lola fell asleep too, but I fell asleep
Mhm.
first. And then we were like, "Oh, should we look at it again so we could see the end?" And we were both like, "No, don't care."
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I think there are a few different things that I thought about why the movie was made the way it was. Once
mhm,
I learned a little bit more, it kind of made sense. So I think what happened, and they'll never really admit to it, is that I heard that Warner Brothers went to the Wachowskis and were like, "We're going to make a fourth Matrix movie, whether you guys are involved in it or not."
mhm,
And so I'm assuming that the one that was probably the creative genius said no, because Lana Wachowski, the
mhm,
Wachowskis used to be brothers. They
yeah,
transitioned
mhm,
into
right,
women.
right,
They're trans women now,
right,
or
mhm,
whatever you want to say.
mhm.
So they Lana is the only one that made the movie, and I'm almost thinking that they didn't want to make the movie, and they must have gone to Warner Brothers and were like, you know what, we're just gonna make this movie so bad that you guys will never be able to make
I've
another
heard that
Matrix again.
theory. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard that theory that they made it so bad. But I mean, why did Keanu Reeves sign up to do it? Why? Why Keanu? That's if I could talk to. I would love to interview Keanu Reeves. By the way, that would be awesome if someone knows him.
Yeah,
Look
I
a
guess
brother up.
maybe for a paycheck. I know that he gave.
Why? He don't need a paycheck.
Well, I know he gave a lot of the salary of the first Matrix movie 20 years ago to
Mhm.
charity, like 70% of it. So I'm
Okay.
wondering if he does movies now to just give a lot of money away to charity, because he's like, you know what, I'm gonna get paid millions of dollars. I can give it away to people that can actually use it.
No, it's true. I
Uh,
understand that,
use
but
it.
he
Yeah.
can make anything else and make millions of dollars. They actually.
Yeah.
So I didn't think. Okay, the first Matrix was good. I'm not gonna take anything away from the first Matrix, but I didn't think that the rest of the Matrix series was that great on a whole. And mostly, I think the idea was a good idea, and that's why the first one was so good. I've told
Hmm.
people before that there's a connection between Matrix and the Terminator movies, and that the woman who created that never got the credit for it. But it just proved like the Wachowskis didn't come up with this idea, and the two follow up movies prove that. But as a whole, for nostalgia, you can look at all three of those movies and okay, it's fine, right?
Hmm.
But they just completely ruined it now. I don't even
Oh
want to
yeah.
see the old movies anymore because they did this.
Yeah.
They really messed it up.
Hmm. Yeah. It was just it was terribly done, and honestly, it was like a commentary on itself, which was really bad to watch. It
Hmm.
was like hating on itself
Hmm.
intentionally, and at that point, I don't know whether they were trying to make fun of the audience for liking the original movie, or just
Hmm.
trying to really just torpedo itself completely.
Yeah.
So it was just
Well,
pretty
I think they're
bad.
mad about the results of the whole red pill. I heard that somewhere that they don't like the idea of how we took, which as an artist, if these guys were even creative, they would know this. As an artist, you create something, you put it in the world, it does not belong to you anymore. It doesn't matter why you created it. It doesn't matter what it
Hmm.
means. I'm an artist. That's what I consider myself. And that's one of the number one cardinal rules in being a creative person. So who gives a crap what they wanted red pill to mean?
Yeah,
I don't care. It means
yeah,
what it means now.
and the movie didn't even really do anything to remove it, because in the end, everybody chose the red pill anyway. So it was
Yeah.
they tried to make it like, oh well, this isn't a binary. I'm not going to go down to a binary choice and reduce everything to that. And then it's like, well, you chose the red pill anyway, so it was what it was. So
Yeah.
you basically almost chose to believe it anyway. So
Yeah.
it was irrelevant, because they knew they couldn't like destroy all of that anyway. I didn't
I
like, I didn't,
mhm,
yeah, I really didn't like the first half of how it tried to give self commentary. I felt that the Agent Smith, the guy that played the new Agent Smith, I
mhm,
thought he was not good at all.
mhm.
Obviously,
Why
more.
did they redo the a lot of
I
the
heard
stuff
that.
in the beginning is better.
Yeah,
It like stood on its own. Why do this? You're just erasing it all. You're making it
yeah,
all meaningless.
yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I think Warner Brothers wanted to crash cash grab, and a fourth Matrix really didn't have to be made. A lot of people don't realize that the video game, The Matrix Online, that came out after the movies, was actually canon. So
Mhm.
I already knew Morpheus was gone. So when they
Mhm.
recast him, I was like, I'm not surprised by this because he died in the video game, and they said the video game was canon.
Yeah.
So I already knew
I
that because
yeah.
in the video game, Morpheus was wanted to know what happened to Neo and Trinity's bodies, and the machines didn't want to
Mhm.
give it up. So he was like, "How am I supposed to believe that he's actually dead? That they're dead
Yeah.
because you guys won't show me physical proof?" So he pretty much went crazy and started attacking the machines again, and that kind of broke the peace, and they had to take him out. So
Absolutely. Let's see here. I gotta hit this first of all. Asper Warrior says Matrix 4 rekindled the mystery of Matrix 1 while somehow holding Matrix 2 and 3 in there despite how lame they got. And he says he liked the commentary on how they're processing their art. The Matrix has been received by the viewership. This was totally, they didn't have to do this. They could have rebooted it, gotten different people,
mhm.
get actual creative people, or just come up with a new idea. I mean, there's got to be people out there writing. There's nothing new under the sun, but there are different ways of taking things and twisting it, and things I would like to see. We don't have to redo the Matrix, for crying out loud. I would like
Yeah.
to see a Monster Hunter movie. From Larry Correa, if anyone knows Larry Correa, there's so many things that Hollywood could be making. Make some of that stuff, please.
Mhm. Well, I mean, they
Yeah.
made a Monster Hunter movie, but it was terrible.
Oh yeah, it's not this kind of Monster Hunter. That's a completely
Yeah.
different thing. All right, so we're
Mhm.
gonna take. It's gonna be a quick little break here for about 20 something seconds, and we're gonna be right back and move on to another subject. Walther Arms has been making concealed carry handguns for over 90 years, starting with the PPK. Today, Walther is based in the good old US of A and still builds quality firearms like the PPQ and PDP for personal defense and competition. So when you're in the market, please consider Walther Arms. We wouldn't be able to keep the Who Moved My Freedom podcast going without the support of great companies like Walther Arms. All right, we're back. And then by the way, let's see. So who is this? Um, Armament and Axis says this show is not supposed to be organized. That's why we are here. LMAO. True. Listen, this is not real. This is just like basic organization. And honestly, I am trying to do more to help out the companies that are helping us out, right? I just want to do
Mhm.
more. So I'm including these audio things. And what I'm doing is like in every video, we're shouting out all the companies that help us out. So that's the way
Mhm.
we're trying to do it. But visually, people can see that if we go through the logos. But on the audio side, people can't hear it. So that's what I'm trying to do here. You guys are going to see with things going on here. It's don't think that YouTube and Facebook have forgotten about us. I know Babyface said yesterday he had a video deleted. He had another video deleted today. And we're going to talk about some of this stuff. Actually, I think we're in the news topic, so we'll talk about this just now. And then he got a strike and all that kind of stuff. We had 40 videos over on YouTube on the Who Moved My Freedom podcast side that got demonetized. These guys are going to use their power and they're going to come after us. They maybe just took a little break, but they're coming back. So
Absolutely.
yeah. Um, I don't know if you want to add anything to that. Um,
I
how
mean,
is it? Go ahead.
oh, no, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, how is it for you guys? I know you guys are new. Congratulations on 75
Mhm.
episodes. That's awesome.
Yes,
2 years. Wow, I can't believe we've known each other this long.
I know. I know. And you definitely helped inspire us to start a show,
Happy to do that,
it's
man. You
been
guys
great.
are some of my favorite people, man.
Awesome. Thank you.
In this thing, doing what Lola and I are doing, I think that you and Joanna, you're not exactly like us at all, but there's like a simpatico, I think, with us and you guys.
Mhm.
So, I'm really proud of you guys and what you're
Thank
doing,
you.
and And I want you, I know that you guys aren't necessarily doing this for money or whatever, but I want you to do this. I think we need you here more than in whatever your jobs are that you make money. And I just, it's too bad that all of this is happening. You guys should be
Mhm.
huge. You guys should be massive. You should be bigger than me just based on the fact that there are lots of Latinos out there. I know people might not like that we're talking about that. That's not the way it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
But there's lots of Latinos out there, lots of Latinos buying guns, and they should be very interested in your point of view. There should be more media coverage for you guys, more support, and all that kind of stuff. So, how is all that shaking out for you guys?
It's been interesting because I mean on Instagram I've seen Joe's broken I think like 2,200 now, so she's seen a lot of growth there, and
Mm-hmm.
we've got like 1,100 on the Locked and Loaded Latinos there. We have 702, I believe, on YouTube right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So,
that's
and I
cool.
know
So,
it's
so you're
yeah,
approaching 1,000. You guys need to go
yeah.
subscribe to these guys on YouTube, please. And are you on Utreon?
No, I do post our episodes on Rumble as well, and when we break 1,000, I want to try the Odyssey. I've heard good things about
Okay.
Odyssey. I really like their interface.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a lot of things with cryptocurrency. So they have their own cryptocurrency that they pay out with and do things like that. So I've heard good things about them. I kind of want to try them out. I like their app a lot as well.
Okay.
So,
Okay. We got to spend some time looking into that.
and I
That.
know that
Go
they
ahead.
they would.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that with the way our software is set up, we'd be able to dual stream. So I would be able to do YouTube and Odyssey, and that's probably what I would do. And then if YouTube kicks us off, it doesn't matter because we're still live on the other side. So,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
yeah, so that would work out pretty well.
What's the best way that people could support you guys? Is it by subscribing to the YouTube channel?
Yeah, definitely. That's where my primary focus is. That's kind of become my baby, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And I've really tried, we don't have any experience in this, but I think a lot of people have seen how I think we've evolved the quality of the show and the product that we provide for people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot more fun. A lot of it is not just to have cool stuff. It really just makes things a lot easier, especially when you're a novice like us.
Mm-hmm.
So I've streamlined a lot of things. I really have enjoyed it, and it's definitely something that I would love to do a lot more often if I could. And like I said, you might not see it in the viewer in the subscriber count, but a lot of the opportunities that we've gotten are just pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So over the last year, I mean, our first year off the bat, we went to that Second Amendment rally, and that's where we met a lot of the advocates like Kevin Dixie, Argo J, Tony Simon, and many others, and started good relationships and friendships with them. We were able to go to SHOT Show because Argo J invited us there, and that allowed us to meet even more people. And that's where Joe was able to interview and meet Anna Polina.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really kind of that gave us the first taste right there. Oh, okay, so maybe we can do things like interview people, speak to politicians, and really spread the word about this and make a name for ourselves. Then we started getting invited to different podcasts and things like that. Eventually, you invited us on, and that's kind of what inspired us to start our own YouTube channel. And since then, we've been evolving it. We do video game streams as well on Twitch. Again, we want to expand that demographic and that audience, and we also are. I really want to kind of bridge the gap between like the gun tubers and like the video game tubers and the pop cultural tubers that are into freedom and are might be libertarian leaning or conservative leaning, and that's kind of the goal. I want to kind of work with those groups and expand upon expand upon that because I think a lot of people have woken up over the last few years, and like you said, we have a lot of new gun owners. We also have a lot of people that have woken up to the fact that the First Amendment is also under attack. That these
Mm-hmm.
social media companies are constantly trying to bend their own rules and use that against us, and they're not happy about the success that people in our industry and in the freedom movement have
Mm-hmm.
because we it's kind of like how radio worked in the 1980s and why the left hated Rush Limbaugh so much. Whether you like him or not, he was extremely successful and he destroyed the left on AM radio. And that basically led to the rise of conservative talk radio, which is pretty much the only arena I would argue, besides now podcasting and live streaming, where conservatives and right leaning people really just destroy and dominate
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah, I,
So
I
I
would
think, it,
I would like to. I'm sorry,
oh
just
no,
a
yeah,
quick interjection. I would love to see some of the money that's in the firearms industry go towards buying some radio stations.
oh yeah.
I've like seen stuff like that almost happen in the past and then not really happen. But I think it's a good way to go. We need all mediums. It's really really important for us to have all mediums. And the idea of not having opposing views. Like I don't want the anti-gun people to be silenced either. If everything switched around, I wouldn't want those guys to be silenced. We need to have opposing views so people can figure it out themselves, and figure out who they want to listen to and what they believe and change and evolve. That's true freedom and growth and advancement for mankind, not this nonsense we have going on now. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, no, not at all. I was looking at the chat. I saw
Mhm.
that AXSPA Warrior
Mhm.
said he'd like to be in that gap. Games and guns are pretty mean. So yeah, I
Yeah.
know it's definitely kind of an, I wouldn't even
Mhm.
say it's an untapped demographic. It's just
Mhm.
almost something that people aren't really thinking about until recently. I mean, I just saw there's another show that we like to watch, Geeks and Gamers and Nerdrotic. They're
Mhm.
two big channels that talk about that.
Mhm.
And on Geeks and Gamers, they're actually very close with John Bartolo, and they had him on their show. And I was like, what, John Bartolo? Really? He talks about guns and MMA, and he's on this gaming show, and it was pretty cool. And he's like, yeah, I'm a huge fan of you guys, and I got to jump on Sundays. They play Mario Kart online, and they stream it,
Mhm.
and they
Mhm.
talk a lot of garbage, which is pretty awesome.
Mhm.
Uh, just to see grown ass men yelling at each other and cursing at each other playing video games. And it's cool because it's like, well, that's how men are. When they get competitive, it doesn't matter whether it's games, shooting competitions, playing basketball. When you're out there with your boys, you're going to talk crap to
Yeah.
one another, and
The
you're going to curse each other out, and you're going to be okay with it because that's what dudes do.
the
So
reason why they're doing this to us is because people want to hear what we have to say.
yep.
If they looked at it and said, you know what, people don't really give a crap about these guys, they wouldn't really mess with us. They
Hmm.
wouldn't do what they're doing. They would just leave us alone. They realize that people want to hear what we have to say, and it's kind of sucks. I was looking at I forgot whose podcast it was, but I was looking at it and they had MKBHD Marquise Brownlee on.
Huh.
Um, he's the guy like I look at on YouTube to find out tech stuff. That's my tech dude right there.
And
And
his evolution is amazing from
he's
being
an
in like a
awesome
dorm
person.
room to now he's got a building, basically a
Yeah,
studio.
yeah. I think in Jersey, he's awesome.
Hmm.
And I didn't even get to look at the whole thing, but they were talking about all these different things that he does. He's doing a podcast, he's doing this thing, he's doing that thing. And I was just thinking, man, this really sucks. And I don't hold anything against him or other people that are successful doing other things here. It just really sucks that these guys have decided to put that barrier in front of us and, you know, for a long time I've been trying to get the industry to do something about it. It's tough because in
Hmm.
the firearms industry, especially right now, they're making all the money in the world. They don't even really feel like they need marketing, because those guys are marketing them and all the
Yeah.
the rioting and all everything bad that's happening, right? That you
Yeah.
could point to is marketing guns. Because human beings, when times get tough, go to guns.
Hmm.
They go to a lot of other things that we could discuss, but they definitely go to guns. So, it's. I wish that the industry would think a little bit more forward and make some investments in this stuff. And I think there are people, and I don't want to say that there's not people in the industry doing it at all because that's not true.
Yeah.
Um, we've seen recently that PSA has done some big things,
Hmm.
and getting involved in a lot of stuff. And I think there may be a couple of other companies behind the scenes, but we need to see that more and more because we are a legit part of culture and society and, like you
Yep.
said, freedom. So let's go to some news stuff since we're in the news. We gotta do something in the news topic. Anything that you would like to talk about that's news right now?
I was trying to see if the Supreme Court had already ruled on the jabs, but I don't think that they're still battling over that, that doesn't necessarily bode well at all if they haven't made a decision yet.
Yeah. So here's okay, that's something we can definitely look up. Here's something let's see, how do I do this here? Yeah, so Ammo Land had this, and let me see, can I share that? You guys, no, okay, hold on. Here we go. That should be doing it. Okay, so this was on AmmoLand. Ghost Gunner launches the 0% gun receiver metal to be banned next. So this is from John Crump, and this has actually hit gun news. So this would be the biggest gun news thing going on today. Um,
That is awesome.
the group that kicked off the 3D printing of firearms is preemptively struck back against any new regulations by the ATF, banning the sale of 80% receivers. Defense Distributed launched their new 0% receivers a week before SHOT Show. The code for the 0% receivers will be available for the Ghost Gunner 3 without the need for expensive upgrades. The ATF unfinished receiver rule is irrelevant before even being published. This is a quote from Cody Wilson. Defense Distributed is the brainchild of crypto anarchist Cody Wilson. Mr. Wilson rose to fame for printing one of the first, if not the first, 3D printed gun known as the Liberator. It fired 380 ACP, etc. So what do you think about this? 0%.
I just can't believe that it's only $500. That's what I can't believe. That is absolutely insanely inexpensive.
Yeah.
I don't know if
A
it's
ghost
just
gun.
the first 700 because it's got like 6 or that are going to be at that price because it says that they have 657 left.
Yeah.
But my God, that's like an expense, a decent, not a mid-grade 3D printer is like $500. So
Yeah.
obviously you can get cheap ones for like $200, but one that's pretty good and it can print pretty big stuff. $400 or $500 is what you can look at, and obviously even higher than that for some of the elite level models. So this is insane, a CNC machine for this price.
Yeah, this is pretty big news, and this is related to what we were talking about with Babyface P. This is pretty much the subject matter that he's been getting hit on.
Oh, never mind. Okay, it isn't that cheap. It's $2,000. So you got to put 500 down. That's still pretty inexpensive for a CNC machine.
Yeah, in the long run, or the ability to do what you need to do. I know when I was telling Lola about this, she was like 0%. What is that? It's basically just a blank.
Yep.
It's maybe has the overall outside shape, of an AR, but it's got nothing. Nothing is in there. So that's what typically companies buy themselves and then finish milling out. So Asper Warrior says $500. No,
Yeah, no, that's the deposit.
that's fake news. Fake news.
Yeah, so I went further down. I was like, oh, of course they make you say 500, then you get excited
On a
like,
deal. On a deal.
Yeah. It's still 2,000 is not bad though, in my opinion.
So that's what Patrick got hit for. He told me that people were trying to buy the Ghost Gunner from him. He's got videos. His videos are up here on Utreon. One of the good things about Utreon, they pull your videos and they're up here. So his stuff is up here.
Cool.
But yes, I think this is good news, man. To me, this is good news. And yes, what will they do? Do you think they'll make pieces of metal, pieces of aluminum illegal?
They won't be able to do anything, and eventually it won't. I think it won't really matter. They're not going to be able to do anything against any of this, in my opinion. And I've got an interesting take. It's a little bit off topic, but I think
hit us with it.
But I think it's kind of my theory. So, I've been seeing lately that all the facts about the COOF and everything have finally been coming out, and now they're saying, "Oh man, maybe we got to look at the now we got to look at the death numbers and." Maybe up to 40% of the deaths weren't actually caused by COVID. It was just people with COVID.
No.
So we're seeing all that. We saw AOC come down here to Florida, and I'm just starting to think that. So obviously the left is authoritarian, but we also feel like I feel like a lot of these modern leftists are pretty weak. Not the crazy Antifa people that you see on the streets, but the politicians are all pretty spoiled. So I started thinking to myself, are they letting go of some of this stuff because they're not authoritarian, or is it because they're getting tired of keeping up the charade? Because unlike in decades past, now AOC can't get away with just hiding and going somewhere and hoping that the news won't pick it up because everybody's got a phone. So after a while, you have to think politicians like her, she's a millennial. So their egos can be bruised and manipulated. So even though she kind of thrives on trolling the right, and she said all those things like, oh, Republicans are just focusing on me because they want to have sex with me or whatever crazy crap that she said. So I think that they're starting to get tired of it themselves. They see that in Florida and Texas, you can do whatever the hell you want. And I think that the younger people on the left are just not going to tolerate this anymore because they're getting tired of it and they don't have the strength to be able to sacrifice for this authoritarianism. And I think that, and it's kind of the first time that I've thought about that. And the more that I think about it, I'm like, okay, if the left is going to rely on this generation, like let's say that even there was a split in this country, I just feel like the other side will be so weak and not have enough will to do anything that they'll eventually quit. And I don't know, that's kind of what I'm starting to see. I just think that the millennial leftists are just way too spoiled. And unless it's the crazy people that like join Antifa, most of those people, a lot of them look like they're mentally ill, so they're different. That's a different story. But I think that these rational leftists are just kind of like, they're getting tired of it. They don't like being called out anymore because they know they'll always get called out. And after a while, you have to think that young people in New York seeing everything that they're seeing, I don't care if they voted for AOC, they got to be pretty pissed to see AOC go to Florida and act like a hypocrite, and they're stuck with vaccine passports.
Why did she go to Florida? That's the big question in that. Why did
Yeah.
AOC come to Florida? If Florida is such a sucky place, such a horrible place where we're doing everything wrong, why did she come here? Because yeah, I think partially you're right. She's living in an authoritarian state, and she probably got tired of getting busted over there doing stuff. So she's like, well, I'll go to Florida, where even if they catch me out there, what does it mean?
Yeah.
All we did is really promote her, and I think that's the flip side of what I would say to what you're saying. I think ultimately what Democrats, what liberals, the folks on the left depend on is sheep, and most human
Yeah.
beings are sheep. The masses are sheep, and they're just going to go along with this stuff. They're very easy to program, and you hit them with so many things that even seeing the truth or slapping them upside the head doesn't really fix them.
Yeah.
So that's why they
Yeah.
know they can get away with this.
Yeah. I think finally people are getting tired of it, the inconvenience of it. They're seeing how basically you're targeting racial minorities when you do this stuff, because a lot of minorities aren't going to get the jab. And so, especially in those cities, you see kind of that disparity there. And I think people are starting to wake up to it.
Yeah.
And especially now that the numbers come out, you're like, wait a second, I did everything that you did. I got the 2 jabs and I got the booster, but I still got sick. This is garbage. So
Yeah,
I
what was
don't
the point of
understand.
all that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I I just think that they what they will probably do is move on to another thing that they can eventually this is going to wear itself out, right? That's just the truth. Eventually human beings get tired, if you eat like champagne, if you drink champagne and eat caviar all day, eventually it becomes blasé to you. So I think that's why they will get away with it. I think you're making a good point. But instead, I believe personally that they're going to pivot to something else and let this go. But they can't, they don't want to just let go of this. There's a lot of power in what's going on here for those guys, especially Fauci. I'll get that in. We're gonna come back right after these words. We wouldn't be able to keep the Who Moved My Freedom podcast going without the support of great companies like Barnaul Ammo. Barnaul has a wide range of reliable, quality steel case ammo for small game, large game, target shooting, and self-defense. They've got the classics like 7.62 and 5.45, as well as 9mm all the way up to 308. Subsonic as well. So when you're in the market, please consider Barnaul Ammo. What there's a thing from Asper Warrior here. We're in the Gorn section, by the way. What is this he said? Hank pops off a soda and now he's shilling for Coca-Cola. I hear that sound. I want a Coke. It's Sprite, by the way. And I need some extra sugar, man, because today's been like a rough. Do you have those days where I was going all day today. Typically, I'm home and I'm editing and just working on different things that need to be done. So I was out all day today, running around, getting stuff done. I got my hair cut, did a whole bunch of things. Yet I feel like I did absolutely nothing. Because none of the editing or any of those things got done. Does that happen to you?
No, that's how I feel. I mean, today I was trying to rearrange our entire setup here because, I mean, it's set up like a studio now, this office, but we still use it as an office for work because it's a good place to work, especially if we have to do teleconferences or something like that. But I get kind of tired of having to partially disassemble it after we finish our show. So I'm trying to find a way to set it up permanently while still being able to use all the monitors that we've got here. So, because we've got 2 big monitors, 27 inches with a TV in the middle.
Oh, sweet.
No.
Yeah, we should see this whole. Well, I don't know if we can see it. I don't know if you guys
not with the way I
watch
have
it.
this camera set up, but usually if you watch our show, I usually have our older webcams. Now we use a Panasonic.
Take a picture and text it to me if you want to show it to the people. If you don't,
Yeah, no.
And
A lot of times before our show now I use our old webcams.
mhm,
Usually when the show is starting,
mhm,
they'll it's like a behind the scenes camera, so it'll
mhm.
show from reverse the setup as we set up the show.
Yeah, I need to get some of that stuff going once I organize all of this. So much craziness going on, man. I actually, and I think I'm one of the first people to get this. We yesterday got Starlink.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
so I haven't. I did hook it up and test it and everything, but it's not like permanently installed in the best way it needs to be. All of that, but it looks promising. We had some issues last night when we were trying to get going because the internet was jumping on the Starlink and then this thing and
Mhm.
that thing. That's how we had problems with the show yesterday. But yeah, there's so many things in the works right now that I'm trying to do to make this all better and be better at what we're doing here. So when I get that
Thanks for that
picture,
picture.
I
Yeah.
will share it with the people out there once it comes through here. So Gorn. So I don't know. You want to go first? You're the guest.
I mean, I only have some handguns that I think
Hmm.
Joe's already showing off a lot of our stuff, but this is my EDC is a Sig P365
All
XL.
right, very nice. Hold that up. Let's see what that look.
Yeah,
Hold it
so
closer because you're kind of yeah.
yeah, there you go.
You
So you
know,
can check
since
that
you're
out.
showing off all your comic books, yeah, there you go. Okay, that looks good.
Hmm.
So this is a 365 XL,
XL. Yep.
and this
So
is
I
your daily.
eventually, yeah, this is my everyday carry, and surprisingly, believe it or not, this gun actually pocket carries with certain
What?
pants.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it does. So
What what pants?
I
What
actually
pants, man?
regularly
Those
pocket carry this
cargo
this
pants?
gun. Yeah,
Cargo? Oh, okay.
and you still and you can't even tell that it's there
Mhm.
because you have this with a cell phone, and I mean, obviously, look, I mean, I just use when I'm not doing appendix carry, I'll just use like a sticky holster, and it
Okay.
works perfectly. I practice the
Mhm.
draw on it, and it's really nice.
Yeah.
So I love this gun a lot. I wasn't too sure. It's the first SIG that we've ever owned. Joe has a P365X, so it's just the shorter barrel, but they've got the longer grip.
Mhm.
So I just feel like it's a lot more comfortable. I can get more of a full
Oh,
purchase in the
okay.
shorter
Yeah.
grip. So
So
it's
you like that shorter barrel but longer gripped
oh no,
concept?
this is
This
the
is
long
both
grip and the long barrel.
long grip,
So
long
Joe
barrel.
has the
Okay.
shorter barrel with the long grip.
Longer grip. So she
Yeah.
likes that. She likes that combo.
Yeah, she likes it. It's a little bit more
Mhm.
concealable for her,
Mhm.
and it just works out. And eventually, I want to get the smaller frame as well. I know Sig only sells them for like $35 or something on their
Mhm.
website, so they're pretty cheap. But I think I want to buy one of the all metal ones and see how it runs all metal because honestly, I'm used to recoil impulse on small guns. My other pocket carry, if I'm really wearing like like shorts or going to the beach, is an LCP2, and I shoot that gun pretty well. And you know, a lot of people complain that small 380s are pretty snappy, but I
Mhm.
feel like I've shot so many small compact or subcompact pistols now in 9mm or 380 that I'm just used to it. So to me, going to the 365 XL is like going to a
Mhm.
huge gun.
Mhm.
It doesn't affect me at all. I eventually want to get a Hollow Sun 507C on it, just because I shot some red dotted staccatos at the
Okay.
USCCA Expo, and
Mhm.
they just kind of spoiled me.
Okay. Asper Warrior says, "Is that some goon tape on there?"
Is that some goon? No, it's just this is the actual grip that
That's the
comes with
grip,
the
right? Yeah.
yeah. So that's how it
Yeah.
is, and
Yeah.
it's not uncomfortable if you appendix carry. It doesn't really like dig into you or anything like that. So it's
Mhm.
pretty good.
Very cool. By the way, let me share this picture that you sent. Boom, there you go. That's
Yeah,
man, that looks like a professional broadcasting studio over there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The Roadcaster is pretty awesome. I love it a lot.
And that
So
looks a,
that's the big switchboard.
yeah, that looks like a cool light you guys have going there also.
Yeah, I found that one. Since we now sit side by side, it was kind of difficult to find a ring light that would
Hmm.
work. And I saw this one
And
on
the
what's
camera's right
this?
there in the middle. Oh, so
Yeah,
you're using what is that? Lumex. Ah.
yeah, it's a Panasonic G95. So I
Mhm.
wanted a camera that wasn't like $2,000,
Mhm.
so like a GH5 or something like that. But
Yeah.
I still wanted the ability to shoot 4K 30.
Mhm.
And a lot of the smaller cameras, I didn't realize until I was shopping around, they can shoot 4K, but
Mhm.
they will overheat after 10 minutes. So you have to record in 10-minute spurts. So this was the only camera in that price point, like less than a grand. I think it was less than $800 that uh, will record continuously as long as it has power.
Oh,
So
okay. Another good camera. That's a good one. which it's what I'm using, the Canon M50, and I know there's
Yeah.
an M50 Mark II, but I have the Mark Ones, and those are cheap.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
even the M50 Mark IIs aren't expensive. That's another good one you can
Hmm.
use. You can do the same thing with it. You can connect it to your computer to broadcast with, like a
Hmm.
netcam, just by using the USB. And then if you get that battery that you could plug in,
Hmm.
then you're good to go and you have continuous power. So,
Yep.
um,
That's what we got here. I got that adapter, and then I just push it
mhm.
HDMI out so I can do 4K if on our show.
Yeah. So let me hold on a second. Who is this? Let me
Now,
see.
obviously, we got the mics now too
Yeah.
on the
So
stands.
so Chris is sending me this picture of is this what kind of Glock? This looks like a Glock.
Is that a dagger?
Is it a dagger?
Looks like a PSA dagger. At
Oh
least the
yeah.
slide. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is.
Hmm.
Probably is a dagger. So there you go. That's from Chris out there.
Cool.
I will show my. So here's one Gorn thing I have. I could take out some other Gorn stuff, but one Gorn thing I have here. I'll show this to you guys. This is my Glock 34 right there. Check that out. Glock 34.
Nice.
Um, and it's in a Harry's holster right there. I think what's the code, like Hank 10 or something for Harry's holster? I can't exactly remember, but our code is still good over at Harry's holsters, whatever that code is. Lola, if you're watching, I'm sure someone out there knows what it is. I think it's either Hank Strange or Hank 10. Um, yeah, Glock 34, man. I've had this for a while. I don't really buy Glocks anymore, but I do have a bunch of 9mm Glocks. I think I got several Glocks 17s, 19s. I have a 26. I have a folding Glock. Um,
Nice.
I have a 43, all that kind of stuff. But this is a cool one. I really enjoy the Glock 34, and it's kind of like, I guess you could use it for training and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So there you go. My Glock
Cool.
34. Still looking good. Haven't beaten it up too much, you know. Sometimes I used to keep this by my bed a lot, but I don't. I have a whole bunch of other stuff. Now I
Hmm.
keep like 300 blackout
Cool.
AR. But when I first started doing this stuff, that's one of the first Glocks that I bought after. I think my first Glock was a Glock 19. Then I bought a Glock 26. And then I bought this 34, and then I bought a whole bunch of different Glocks. So there you go.
Nice.
Someone thinks, do you have another one? You have another one?
I
What
just
else?
got my this is my Ruger SR 1911. So this is
Mm-hmm.
a lightweight commander. So
Mm-hmm.
it's aluminum frame, obviously with a steel slide,
Sweet.
and it's
Hold it up for us. Hold it up.
yeah, it's a 4.5 incher.
Mm-hmm.
And then normally they come with with rubber grips that actually feel really nice when you shoot, but they don't look that great.
Mm-hmm.
And they're pretty slim. So I got the wooden grips from the 45 model. And I love it. I mean, it's got just regular 3-dot sights, and I just shoot lights out with it. I
Mm-hmm.
really just absolutely love this gun. It's a pretty affordable 1911. I think they go for like MSRP is like 800, but you can usually find them for. I think I paid 650 for this one, so that's not too bad for an American 1911.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very cool. And I think we did
Yeah.
see,
Hmm.
that is something that Joanna showed us.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, she was
And then
much,
her CZ
let's
too.
see.
So
Oh,
and I
yeah,
like
she
her.
did show off the CZ.
So
What?
and I always
Now
like
hold
this
that one
gun too.
closer. Let's see this. So this is what CZ is this? This
This is the SPO1 Shadow, or the Phantom. Sorry, the
okay.
Shadow is obviously the expensive one. So they actually don't even make the Phantoms anymore. So this is the polymer frame
Mm-hmm.
with the metal slide. So she just wanted something that was a little bit lighter than the all metal one. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, they've got the polymer one, and I think they discontinued them in 2018 actually. So it's got the decocker, which I like. And yeah, it's a good gun. I probably want to get a trigger job eventually because like all double action, the it's a little bit mushy. You get it's a little bit loose when you've got that first
Yeah.
trigger pull with the
I
double
don't even
action.
like the
But
sound of decocker. That's
yeah,
just that shouldn't even be in the English language.
I don't mind it. With a hammer fired gun, especially if you're locked
I'm
in
just talking
cock.
about the name. I'm just talking about
Oh
the
yeah,
name.
yeah,
Double
yeah,
entendre.
yeah. I mean, I like and a hammer fired gun. I kind of like a decocker, especially a double action.
Hmm.
So it's pretty cool. I like this gun a lot. I shoot it pretty well.
Hmm.
But
Okay, I'm
besides that,
getting.
we've got
Go ahead.
Joe's guns, and then just a couple of ARs, and I think you guys saw the Streebog and the Sub 2000.
Yeah.
Oh, I've actually got. I mean, I think everybody has to have everybody has to have a 1022.
Oh,
But
okay. Yes, this is true. This is true.
I
This.
think that
Oh.
the breakdowns are really awesome.
Yeah.
So this is a 1022 takedown, and I put the X22, the Magpul X22 backpacker stock.
Hmm.
So for those of you that don't
That
know,
was
a lot of you
awesome.
don't.
That's awesome when Magpul came out with that, man.
Oh
That was
yeah,
like
this thing is the
home run
best.
on that. Yeah.
I put the pick rail adapter on there for whenever I put a red dot, but right now I've got it running the I believe these are the tech sights, so they're
Hmm.
similar to the kind of M1 Garand or actually AR-15 style.
Hmm.
So these are fantastic sights, and what I love about this stock is obviously you can put magazines. So I put
Yep.
about 100 rounds of 22 in there with one 10-round magazine, and then roll with the 25s, and it's
Yeah. That's
pretty
good to
sweet
go.
setup.
Good to go
Yeah,
for the apocalypse.
it's
Um,
awesome.
if you're a gun
So
guy out there and you could, like, with a straight face, tell us that you've never had a 1022, you need to get up on it and get yourself a 1022. I mean,
yeah,
seriously.
I've got the big mag release there, so I can quickly do it because Joe, at one point before COVID, Joe and I were planning. I've got
Hmm.
TCR TCR 22, so that's Smith and Wesson's or
Hmm.
Thompson Center's
Hmm.
version of the 1022, and that one's actually pretty nice too. The stock
Hmm.
sights are way better than the Ruger 1022,
Yeah.
but this one's got some work done. So I put the upgraded Ruger trigger there, so it works pretty nice. The extended charging handle, and then obviously the mag
You need a
release.
suppressor for that bad boy.
I know. Well, see, the only bad thing about this one is that I bought it with, I wanted it stainless, but this was the 18-incher, so it's not threaded. So
Okay. Okay.
that's the only
Well,
bad thing about this one.
mm,
But the
mm.
good thing about the takedowns is that they sell plenty of barrels for these.
Lots of barrels.
Brownells has a lot of nice takedown
Hmm.
barrels, and
Hmm.
I forgot who makes them, but they're all threaded and they're pretty awesome.
Yeah,
So,
and quite a few companies make a integrally suppressed. Now I'm trying
yeah,
to think who. I'm
Ruger
trying to.
does too. Ruger sells
Yeah.
an integrally suppressed barrel for the
Yes, they've got
takedown.
a yeah, they've got a full length integrally suppressed takedown
Hmm.
barrel. And the only thing better than this takedown is the Charger takedown to me.
Oh
That's
yeah.
the only thing that's
Hmm.
better than that one. And
Yep.
there's a believe it or not, you can get I have, I think, an integrally suppressed barrel. I've made so many different versions of 1022s. It's not funny. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the only way to make those better, man. Integrally suppress them. So sweet, and then
Oh yeah.
you could get the parts that make less noise. The action makes less noise and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And you've just got a great all around rifle that you can use in the
I'm
apocalypse for hunting.
I'm obsessed with backpack guns and
Hmm.
takedown rifles. That's
Hmm.
really like what I love more than anything else. I think
Hmm.
that's why I've got a sub 2000. I think that's an awesome gun. It's pretty much the most basic firearm you can find. It's literally a tube, a
Hmm.
blowback tube, and that's it.
Yeah, sub
And
2000 is a good one. We were talking
yep.
about that. Did you see? Oh, I forgot the name of the. There was one of these things we were talking about. Let me see if I could pull this up. Because here it goes. Yeah, there was. We were talking about the NSAGW show that happened, and there were a couple of guns that got shown off in there. And one of them, hold on, let me see. I'm gonna pull this up here so that I share my screen with you guys, my phone. So check this out.
Ooh.
This is Trailblazer Firearms.
Oh yeah, that's
Um,
right.
and what is this thing called? Pack 9. So basically, it is. Let me see. If I go this way, we can get a bigger, closer picture. So this is a backpack gun, and then that top part flips around
Hmm.
like that, and then you could put it in a backpack.
Cool.
Now I know, obviously, like now it's pointing back towards you, but the gun's not gonna work functionally
Yeah.
in that position for whoever wants to get crazy about that. Pack 9. What do you think about that, real quick?
I mean, like I said, I'm all for different takedown guns. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's that? What's the length of it when it's like that? Like 20
It
inches or
weighs in
something?
at 5 pounds. I'm trying to see. Um, yeah, I think it's 20.9 inches. Storage profile, 20.9 inches.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I love things like that. So,
Oh yeah.
um, let me see what else. We've got people sending us. Edward Andrews sent us some pictures of some guns that I'll share with you guys real quick right here. This is his CZ. There you go, from Edward Andrews.
Oh,
Very nice.
nice. Oh, 45, 90. Oh yeah, 97. You
Yeah.
don't see that many CZ97s.
Yeah, Edward Andrews, man, he's got a nice. He's, by the way, he always does this. He always does this. Especially when I'm on the show here, he's like, "Oh, yeah, you guys have one of those? That's cute. Here, check this out." So that's awesome. I love it. That's awesome. Uh, yeah. So I'm trying to see what other news stuff here. We got like 3 minutes. I'm thinking there was some other news things that I wanted to pull up here. We talked about the 0%.
Hmm.
Um, let's see what the firearms blog is
Well,
up
what about
to.
what do you
Mhm.
think of that? Now
What?
we've got the that 30 super round. Did you guys talk about that?
No, 30 Super. Break this down to me. What's going on with
30
that?
su Okay, so Federal came out with a new round pretty
Uh,
recently. It's called 30 Super Defense.
okay.
So the whole
I think I
concept
heard about
behind
that.
it
Mhm.
is that it's obviously a smaller diameter than a
Mhm.
9mm or 380,
Mhm.
but the cartridge seems to be about the same length as a 9mm.
Mhm.
So it'll give you pretty much the velocity of like a plus P 9mm round with a slightly less weight but a smaller diameter.
Mhm.
So the whole point is that you can carry 2 or 3 extra rounds in pretty much any like compact or subcompact gun.
Mhm.
And I don't know. We'll see how it is. I'm all for carrying more ammo. And honestly, I think that there's 380 is kind of an inferior round. So if there's
Mhm.
something that could be better than 380, and
I think
and
380 technology's come a long way though. I think
it has,
380.
but I think
Yeah.
it's supposed to almost be the evolution of that. So you can carry more
Mhm.
since
Hmm.
380 still has the same diameter as a nine
Okay.
millimeter bullet.
380 is very popular. Someone was asking me today when I was out if I had any lines on 380, and I was like, I don't know, man. Um, so
But
check this out. Go ahead.
I think it's supposed to be right now. It's about the same price as 380.
Okay.
So it'll
Okay.
really come down to guns that are going to have it. I think the first one is going to be the Smith and Wesson Shield Plus. They're going
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
probably announce it at SHOT Show.
Mhm.
But I mean,
So
we'll see. I mean,
yeah, I
I
would
don't know.
need to get
30,
my hands
32.
on it. Mhm.
Yeah, 32 used to be a popular round back in the day. So maybe something like this might catch on and
Yeah. And
uh,
is it going to be more
replace
made
380.
than is it? Are they going to make more of it? Like the 380 is always a problem, you know. Like that's one of the things that people, I guess, stop manufacturing when stuff gets crazy. So we don't really see it out there. Just real quick, I'll show this off to you guys. You guys know that Walther sponsors the show. You've probably already seen that. This is my Walther PDP right here. Very nice gun. I'm enjoying that.
Nice.
I'd like to see, the further evolution. I wonder what Walther's coming out with at SHOT Show this year. You know,
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. Even though I do stuff with them or whatever, I have no idea of what the stuff is coming out. So just like you all, I will be waiting to hear about that and see what comes out from Walther. You know,
Mhm.
and and when it happens, we will be commenting on it. We're supposed to have Walter Keller from SHF going live at SHOT Show, so that'll be happening.
Awesome.
Right now, we're going to run in a quick break right here. With Arms List, you can shop the extensive list of local and nationwide firearms classified, now with more confidence because of their built-in firewall. For only $6.99 a month for personal use, or $30 a month for business vendors, so when you're in the market, please consider Arms List. We wouldn't be able to keep the Who Moved My Freedom podcast going without the support of great companies like Arms List. Yeah, we're running this. This is going like a radio station, man. It's like the train. The train is on the tracks. It's coming whether you like it or not. That train is coming down the tracks.
Yep.
So the folks out there in the audience, if you guys have questions for Rolando, Puerto Rican Pistolero of, wait, let me see if I get this right. Latinos locked and loaded.
Locked and loaded Latinos.
Oh, crying out loud. Okay, I messed it
Oh
up
man.
again. Uh, I would, you know what? If they come out with that ammo and it's available, it's not ridiculously expensive. I'd like to try it. I know, wasn't it? Didn't Hootie Hoo just get a gig? I think Hootie Hoo's working for Federal now. He's like a brand
Is he?
ambassador. I think so, for Federal.
Huh.
I think we were
I'm
talking
sure.
about that earlier this week. Yeah.
I'm sure that they're going to show it off all at SHOT Show and people will shoot
Mhm.
it and we'll see how it is. I'm interested to see what the recoil impulse is on it because
Mhm.
I think I heard something crazy like the PSI is like 50,000 PSI, which is
Really?
like like 2.5 times what 380 is, I think.
And
So
Federal's the only one that can make it, or
I
they
don't know if they're
open
the
that.
only one that's making it, but they're the only ones they introduced it and they seemed like they're pushing it pretty hard. So we'll see how
Hmm.
it is. It might be like another what was it? The man, what was the Valkyrie
Right.
might end up being something like that.
Yeah, weird calibers. I wait a little bit before I get into weird calibers. By the way, we're gonna continue going. This is the audience section, so if you guys have stuff that you want to talk about, please feel free. So now here's a gun that I thought was cool that came out at past SHOT Shows, and when I saw it, I was like, "What? I have to get that." Keltec. This is, what is it? C33. I'm forgetting the thing.
33.
Yeah, CP33. CP33. Boom.
Nice.
There we go. 22. Come on, tell me that looks sexy. We've run this. You know, when we're talking about 22s, I think it was. Let me see if I can get it to focus. There you go. I think it's about time that Keltec made something like this. Very cool.
Oh yeah.
Very cool gun. You can suppress it and all that kind of good stuff. You know, 22 LR. So I actually even forgot I had this gun, man. I need to pull this back out when we're doing some 22 videos. But yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah.
fun. And the magazines for these, there you go, clear magazines right there.
How are they to load?
Double
Because I know
stacks.
it's like 33 rounds, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little funny to load, but it's not bad. I think they've done some stuff to make the loading of that better versus like the 22 Magnum stuff from the what the hell is the name of that of those 22 I've got a bunch of those 22 Magnum pistols also, the PMR.
The PMR 30.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Asper Warrior says, I almost bought a CP33 in December, but I really needed a new carry more. So
That's how I've
there
been.
you
If I didn't stop myself, I would have like 122s of all different types. That's just how they are. Because
you
they're cheap and they're
there's nothing
fun.
wrong with that. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, they're cheap and they're fun, and the ammo
Yeah.
is always going to be cheap at least. So I mean,
Well, I hope
compared to
that
other,
yeah.
it'll always be the cheapest.
Yeah, I hope so, but I would definitely recommend that when 22 ammo is cheap, that people stockpile.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why
Stockpile.
every time that on the news they're like somebody was busted and they had thousands of rounds of ammo. I'm like, dude, if you include my 22, it's gonna be like
Yeah.
there's got to be like 5,000 rounds of 22 at least in there over there.
Yeah.
So because I
Um
just buy it whenever I bought it before the crisis, I just
mhm.
stockpile it, and I was like, this is for the fun days when you just want to shoot and shoot and shoot and never stop, pretty
Yeah,
much.
I still have 22 from the Fire Armageddon of
Hmm.
2013. I bought buckets of bullets, and I still have those buckets. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I have some buckets of bullets somewhere I didn't even open. You know, and every now and then I buy 22s, 22 Magnum. I'm always getting 22 Magnum. I think that's a cool round. Um, let's see. Night Train says is trying to tell you that he's still dating a lovely
I
Venezuelan
know, I
lady.
saw that. Nice, congratulations, man.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you.
Hmm.
And Lola says there's some badass looking 22s. Yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
You know, that's true. I would like to see. So this CP 33.
Hmm.
You know, we can do this in some other. We can do this in some other
I would
cool
like Keltec
rounds.
to make a full size 22 rifle. I think they should just do it. Something to compete, like
Hmm.
the size of a 1022, but maybe make it like a bullpup or something cool like that. Weird,
Yeah.
like
Well,
Keltec does.
why did they never do a sub 2000 in 22? Maybe.
I don't
Oh well,
know.
maybe you can't. No, I don't know. Maybe that's
Blowback.
not feasible. Yeah.
I mean, you could still do it. It would just be a lighter bolt, wouldn't it? I mean, it's a
Yeah.
22, a 1022 is a blowback. So
Yeah. Asper Warrior says bucket of bullets giveaway. No, that's a very strong no on that.
five 500 round bricks marked at 799. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
those
that's from
days.
M. Avens. Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know if we're seeing those days. Some
Oh
days are
man,
not
I don't
coming
know.
back.
No, I mean, 22 is like 9 cents a round now. I'm like, oh my god, that's crazy. It was like 3 and 4 cents a round before this.
Yeah.
It was
So many things are going up and they're not coming back. We're not
Yep.
going to get back certain prices. Let's see here. So I don't know. Was there something in the? Oh, you know what I saw actually? Let's see if I can screen share. This I saw was cool. I think my brother shared a link of this as well. Smith Tactics Sidekick Co-Charger AR-15 charging handle. I like stuff like that. Let me see. Come on. Open this page. Open it. There we go. So basically, you could take your charging handle and make it side charging. Well, what? Do you think this is
Oh,
a
that's
stupid?
cool.
You think this is cool or stupid?
I mean, if it works well, I don't think it's stupid because I think
Mm-hmm.
the one complaint, I mean, that people might have about the AR platform is the charging handle. I mean, really because it'll gas you in the face when you run a suppressor, but
Mm-hmm.
just because it's open. But I think sometimes
I
it's
like that. See
awkward
how that
compared.
works? Yeah.
Yeah, it's awkward compared to, I mean,
The ch-
especially it's just awkward the way that you have to position an AR, and I feel like it takes an
yeah.
awkward motion. I mean, I'm good at it. I'm used to it. That's just the standard operating procedure, but I've always felt like a side charger like an AK is a little bit easier sometimes
Yeah, you don't have to
for me.
sugarcoat it, man. The charging handle on the AR sucks. There's certain
Yeah.
things like I wish they would change stuff on the AR. Come on, get get your act together here. And
Yeah.
depending on the optics and stuff like that you have on there, it's very difficult
Oh
to
yeah.
get to those
Oh
things.
yeah.
So, uh,
Anytime you run a scope, oh my God. The first time I ran a scope, I needed to get,
hmm
if you're running a regular mil spec charging handle, forget running a big scope. Like you will
hmm
not be able to charge that gun. You need a Raptor or anything like that that really sticks out.
hmm
And then even then, sometimes it's a pain in the butt with, sticking out on both sides. I wish you could really choose one side, like how that side charger works. So
hmm
that's pretty cool. I might check that out.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. I just closed the window. I'm not sure of what the price is. Let me see if I could.
I mean, let me see if I can
Oh,
get over here.
Edward Andrews is sending me his pictures of cheap ammo.
Oh gosh.
Actually, yeah, dollar. What did he say? I think he said that this was like a dollar something. Let me see. Uh, dollar 522 LR
Oh my gosh.
for a
That's a,
brick. Oh my gosh. My grandkids, man, they better be gun people because they're gonna, you know, I'm making serious investments for my grandkids right here.
yep.
22. You can't. I think Asper Warrior says he doesn't have 22. Dude, you got
Wow.
to have 22.
Yeah. I mean, look, 22 is uh, uh, the way that I say 22. Obviously, it's not reliable, not as reliable in self defense, but
Mm-hmm.
if you've got good 22, you'd be if you have a good like just a solid regular 1022, your magazines work and you've got decent ammo, it won't be that unreliable. Like you might get a misfire every 100 rounds with good ammo. I think 22's unreliability is sometimes over
Estimated,
over exaggerated. It's over exaggerated, and I
exaggerated.
think
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
sometimes it really depends on the gun. If the gun is too cheap, then obviously it's not going to work that well.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not feeding the rounds right and they bind up in the magazine, then that's not going to work that well.
I think.
So
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
yeah, I just always looked like if you can't miss with it, then in a bad situation, 22 would still be useful because you're probably going to be able to aim for the head. So,
Mm-hmm.
and you might be able to fire multiple rounds in like a group that's only an inch. So that's going to take anybody down if their head is not protected.
Yeah, we were
Just,
talking about guns, like keeping your guns clean, and I think most guns you don't really have to do a lot of cleaning. Or you shouldn't. If you have to clean
Mhm.
a gun a lot, then typically, right?
Yeah.
Everything's not 100%. If you've got to clean it a lot or every time you shoot it, there's a problem with
Mhm.
that. And if you're okay with it, that's fine. But I think 22s are something that you don't necessarily have to clean them every time you shoot it, but you do want to think about that. Cheap stuff
So,
tends to be dirtier and all that.
yep.
So yeah. Um,
Can Lola ask, can a 22 be an EDC carry?
it's better than having nothing.
It is better than having nothing. And I
So.
think that if you feel comfortable enough carrying something like, what is that? The Beretta has that tip barrel 22, don't they? It's got like 10 rounds or something like that. Or even
Um, Walther has some option.
Yeah,
Pretty much. I mean, even there's a you can get a Glock, a 22 Glock now.
yeah.
So,
I
and the
I like
Taurus
the wall.
TX22 is awesome. That's one
Yeah,
of the best ones. Hmm
yeah. The TX22 is probably the best
hmm
22 you can get if you want something that's smaller. The Walthers are nice
hmm hmm
because they're compact.
Ergonomics.
Oh yeah, I think Walthers are some of the most comfortable guns
Yeah,
I've ever shot.
yeah. So that's, you know, if for whatever reason you don't like any other round, so let's say you tried 9, you don't like that, you tried 380 and you don't like that, or 25 or whatever, and 22s, which a lot of people die, a lot of people get killed by 22s.
Yep.
So is it going to work for you in every single situation you're going to come across? I don't think so. But I think a lot of times what happens, if you have to get to the scenario where you draw a gun, most people are going to retreat at that point. But
Yep.
I'm not trying to tell you guys that I believe, like, oh, you've got to draw this. Like, that's not my philosophy. My
Hmm.
philosophy is when that gun is coming out, you know, I'm like that train that's on the tracks and it's coming. So that's the
Yep.
last thing I want to do, and I'm not trying to scare you or anything like that.
And
Um,
I mean, and I think sometimes there's just something to, if there are certain guns that you shoot lights out, and you can't get, like, some people just can't shoot Glocks because their grip angle is weird to some people,
mhm,
and I get that, and so they might want to shoot a 1911. Like,
mhm,
I can shoot a Texas Star with a 1911 and hit everything, every single thing.
mhm.
That's just the way that it
Then
is.
carry a
So,
1911. Who cares how
and
many
yeah,
rounds it
then
is?
that's what
Yeah.
I would tell people. I was like, if you don't miss and you practice enough the draw, getting
Mhm,
used to it, obviously having a single action or whatever gun that you want to carry. I
mhm,
mean, honestly, a striker fired gun that's locked, cocked, and ready to rock is just as dangerous as a single action, in my opinion, or
mhm,
just as, potential for whatever as a single action. Obviously, a Series 70 1911 is not going to be drop safe, so that's
mhm.
something to think about. But you can get a Series 80 and have the crappy trigger if you want, or get one of these staccatos if you want to carry a
I like
staccato.
how you say that right.
I mean, that's how it is. Everybody knows that the Series 80's triggers suck. So I mean,
No,
that's
I
why
mean, yeah,
that's why I like older
mhm.
school 1911s.
Okay, all right. Gen Champ Jr. says full auto Glock 44 with a fun stick would make a great EDC.
I mean, I
Absolutely.
think I think
Yeah.
sometimes if you can carry, I think PCCs are really awesome
Hmm.
if you want to backpack carry. And obviously you're not going to be able to draw something that large very quickly, but if you carry a pistol on your body and maybe you're walking into a situation like, let's say that there's an active shooter, I would
Hmm.
rather have a PCC against a dude that's got like an AR or an AK, because I know that even up to like 100 yards, you're probably not going to miss with
Hmm.
anything that's a long gun if
Hmm.
you practice.
Yeah.
And so, and even then, at the 25 to 50-yard range or anything like that, a PCC is going to be a lot easier to use.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge proponent of 300 blackout or 9mm PCCs if you've got them, and I think they're
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, to answer Lola's EDC question, truthfully, whatever you're comfortable with. But the
Mhm.
reality is that um, you're gonna be probably best with 9 millimeter, and
Mhm.
if that's too much, maybe 380. I think 380 has gotten better
Mhm.
technology wise or whatever, but you know, if I could say definitely do this because this will be the best thing for you, I would say 9 millimeter. And then from
Mhm.
there, it goes to whatever you're comfortable with. Some people are comfortable with 40, 45,
Yep.
whatever. Some dudes carry around some kind of 223, you know, little
Mhm.
223 break open or whatever.
Yep.
Hey, if that works for you, it works for you. So, um, didn't I see someone with a like 7.62, like one of those, one of those little pistols like that? Like single shots. Did I see
Uh,
that, or
uh,
was that a meme or a joke I saw somewhere?
no, I feel like there was something like that. Well, I feel like
Yeah.
somebody cut up a Mosin Nagant and turned it into a bolt action pistol before,
Oh,
but
okay.
or
Yeah.
maybe somebody's made a pistol SKS. I don't
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, I don't know. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking it's Brandon Herrera, but someone out there will tell me
If there,
if
if
we're wrong.
anyone has done it, he would be a good bet.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was him that did something like that. So.
Brandon is a funny guy. So
Hmm.
every time that Joe runs into him, because we
Hmm.
just randomly run into him whenever we go to like conferences and things like that, and he
Hmm.
still doesn't completely know who we are. I think he always like, oh, he's like, yeah, it's those Latinos over there. But but but
Hmm.
Joe always goes up to him and it's like, hey, you look like Jesus Christ, and then she walks away and he then leaves him confused because
He's probably
for
thinking like, wait
whatever.
a second, I think I am Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Maybe I
because
am.
Brandon makes very funny
Uh-huh.
faces and all that stuff, and he's kind of
Hmm.
a weird dude when you
Right.
get to know him. He's
Hmm.
an interesting guy.
Hmm. He's
So
cool. I've known him for a while.
yeah, so he's cool.
Before he got famous.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think what's cool about him is that you can tell that he's actually a little bit of a shy guy. So I think his way of his humor makes him like more comfortable, I think.
Hmm.
And it's easier for him to do his thing. So it's really funny sometimes to see him in social situations and he's a little bit like quiet off to the corner. It's like, wow, that's Brandon Herrera. He's supposed to be laughing and joking about everything, but he's actually a pretty chill guy
He is.
when you
He
meet him.
is. I've no.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that he's a cool dude, and I
Mhm.
think that, this may seem counterintuitive. Uh, there's people who don't really. I'm not saying they don't want the fame or whatever,
Mhm.
but are really introverted, even though they've got some kind of notoriety. I don't think Brandon
Yeah.
is famous like, Brad Pitt or anything like that. Not yet.
Mhm.
But don't necessarily want the notoriety. I believe it or not, I'm a very introverted person.
Mhm.
So if I'm out there and I'm seeing people, let's say I was at SHOT Show or something where there's a lot of gun people, actually in normal everyday life, no one knows who the hell I am, and I love that. So when I go to those situations, I think it's great. It's awesome that there's people who know me, but at the same time, it's kind of like, it's like it's a weird thing. And I think
Yeah.
that Brandon's like that too. He's got these responsibilities of what he has to do, and there's folks that work for him and stuff like that. And this fame or whatever is that thing. But
I think for us, the weirder and the funny thing has been that no, obviously regular people don't know who we are, but a
hmm
lot of bigger people in the gun industry do. So it's
hmm
really weird when we run into like hanging out with like Jared from Guns and Gadgets and all that stuff and
hmm
having dinner with him. And it's like, wow, it's Jared. And
hmm
we get along with him really well. He's actually half Puerto Rican himself. So we're going to have him on the
hmm
show one of these
Oh,
days.
that's what's wrong with him.
Yeah.
No, Jared's
So,
cool. Yeah.
yeah, so he's really cool. We got to hang out. I actually met him at SHOT Show back
hmm
before he really blew up in 2020.
hmm
I know really he blew up in 2020. The last 2
hmm
years, his channel's really gone
Well,
big
and it's the
time.
same thing. He's just put a tremendous amount of
Yeah.
work into it. I mean,
Oh
a
yeah.
tremendous amount of work. I mean, what it takes to do. It may look to someone like, oh, that's easy to do. It's freaking, you know, it's tough. It's
Oh
tough
yeah.
to keep up with that pace. And then once you start doing it, you got to do it.
Well,
Cruiseman says Eric at IV88 made a Mosin pistol, and I
oh
believe
there you yeah.
I think I shot some kind of Mosin thing that he
Mhm.
did. So I think I shot that. So um, let's see here. What what stuff has been on your radar, man? SHOT Show's coming up. I know we're getting ready to go into another segment here
Mhm.
in about a minute. But what's been on your? Are you looking forward to stuff? Are you for first of all? Are you guys going to SHOT Show?
No, we're not going to SHOT Show this time. We did go in 2020, so I actually think that we were pretty lucky to go because I think 2020 obviously is the last shotgun of a certain era.
Mm-hmm.
So the last
Mm-hmm.
SHOT Show before COVID and everything that happened, and before they switched to the new format now that they have it go
Mm-hmm.
between the Sands and Caesars now. So with that Sky Bridge, so we'll see how that works out.
Mm-hmm.
But it was great. But this time, Joe travels a lot for work, and with some of the restrictions that they had there, I was like, I don't think it would have been worth like taking the days off to go
Yeah.
this time.
And I don't think they
So
even have the worst restrictions. I was looking
no,
at a video, the What's Inside family. I don't know if you know the What's Inside YouTube channel. I look at.
no,
So that's the kid who he got big on YouTube cutting stuff open. But it was
okay,
like he was like a young kid. I think he's like just now starting to drive or something like that. So his dad really ran the channel, and his dad has a channel called What's Inside Family, and he went to CES. And I'm gonna tell you guys what I saw in that video as soon as we come back from this little break that's about to happen here. We wouldn't be able to keep the Who Moved My Freedom podcast going without the support of a DAO, or decentralized autonomous organization like TUSC Crypto. TUSC Cryptocurrency is a firearm-friendly e-commerce option for online payment transactions, secured on the blockchain. So when you're in the crypto market, please consider TUSC, TUSC. Oh, look, there's all these crazy windows open. By the way, you guys want to get up on TUSC, man, because there's some big news that's gonna come out about TUSC here. I think that people will find very interesting. So I know not everyone wants to get up on crypto. So anyway, yes, I was saying, What's Inside Family. That's the dad. That channel itself is pretty big, just cutting stuff
mhm,
open. Um, So the dad went to CES, and CES required you to show your COVID vaccine thing.
Ooh.
So, and which he showed that, but he was walking around the show, dude. It was less people at that show than when Walter and I went to SEMA show. Walter, myself, and Lola went to SEMA show in November. It was less people there. A lot of
Mhm.
people did not show up. Um, and I guess that's a good thing and a bad
Mhm.
thing. But
I think
I don't know
see,
if it keeps
see
going after that. Go ahead.
I think shows there. Well, look, because a lot of people were having the discussion. I saw that G Webs was having the discussion the other day.
Mhm.
Gun websites on YouTube
Mhm.
about. He's a huge advocate, and so am I, of in-person events.
Mhm.
And some people believe that some events can be remote. I think that can work for certain industries. I think for guns that can never work, because guns are all about touching them.
Tactile.
That's
Yeah. Mhm.
it's tactile. I have to be
Mhm.
able to. I can't tell you if I like a gun. It might look good on paper, but until I pull the trigger, rack the slide, and shoot it, I can't tell you if I'm going to like the gun or not.
Yeah.
I
Until
might
you.
like it in theory.
Yeah, you've got to actually hold it.
Hmm.
We're not exactly the same. Does that fit in your
Yep.
hand? Do you feel confidence when that's in your hand? That's not for every gun. This Glock, for example, feels completely different in the hand than
Hmm.
than the Walther. I think they're both good, but they're completely different.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right about that in terms of people having to touch it. The thing is, these things will show up at gun stores.
Hmm.
Some shows, I think the difficulty for me, my complaint about SHOT Show, it is a show that has its benefits, right? Traditionally, in a year, the big shows are in January. SHOT Show, that's the industry kind of thing.
Hmm.
You could go there, talk to the companies. There's other content creators or whatever going on. You get to make videos, touch things. For me, I get to think about, oh, this would be really cool. I like this. I don't like this, because of that tactile input. Now, then the other big show later on, usually April or May, is the NRA show,
Hmm.
because that's where we actually meet the folks, etc. NRA moves around, and so it goes to different states, and it's a lot easier to do, a lot more affordable. My only complaint about NRA is the NRA shenanigans that have been going on,
Yeah.
right? So I don't like the idea of supporting them when they were distracted by all that stuff and not paying it. A lot of the problems that we have going on, a lot of things come out of the NRA being distracted and not giving a spine to
Hmm.
politicians, right? Politicians need reinforcement. So the
You
thing
know
with
which?
go ahead.
I was going to say another conference that's good and I hope
Hmm.
gets bigger is the USCCA conference. So
Yeah, I've
I don't
never
know if
been
you've
to
heard of
that,
it.
but I've heard
We
that.
went, yeah, we
Hmm.
went to it this year, and we actually were invited to speak there, and it was enjoyable. It's definitely way smaller than Shot. It's not comparable in that
Hmm.
way, but it's not really supposed to be.
Hmm.
It's like a really big. It would be like if you could think of a huge local gun show with like some of the things that you might see at Shot, but
Hmm.
on a much smaller scale. But they also give you a lot of classes that are relevant to like normal gun owners and different lectures. Obviously, they invited us to speak,
Hmm.
and we did on Second Amendment advocacy.
Hmm.
So that was pretty cool. That's things that you don't really see at SHOT Show since it's an industry event, and I'm not sure if NRA is exactly like that either. But
Hmm.
it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like a small show I went to last year, it's probably going to grow, but the Sawmill PSA did a cool show, and I prefer those smaller shows. And the thing,
Hmm.
that's what I think about Shot Show. That's something I think that if they're going to insist on doing it in Las Vegas, then for a lot of us it's probably going to be virtual. I don't know that I'm going to invest that kind of money going all the way out to Shot Show. This year there's a conflict with an RV show happening here in Florida,
Hmm.
but I don't want to go back to Vegas, since I went there last in November. It was just ridiculously expensive to be there you
Yeah.
know so I don't want to do that. I also don't like flying anymore, so I'm
Hmm.
not going to fly unless I absolutely have to, which means when I went there I drove all the way out there. So it's just not worth that big trip for me, I don't think, and we're going to be here doing other stuff. But that to me should be virtual from my point of view, if they're going to keep doing it in Vegas and it's going to be this
Hmm.
whole thing. I would rather see what they're coming out with and go, okay, this is what I think about it, but I have to get my hands on it to let you know or whatever. and
Hmm.
maybe we do smaller shows around the country that have less rules. It's easier to get out to, more affordable to be there. Um, the PSA, what was it called? Something at the sawmill, right? The gathering, the
Hmm.
gathering at the sawmill. Lola and I went out there in this van, and we camped out there for a couple of days while it was going on.
Yep.
So that was just a lot easier, that kind of thing for us to do. And I wish we had more gun shows like that.
Yep. I
Um,
think I think well, and NRAs like this because general public can go to the NRA.
mhm,
So I like that aspect. That's what I liked about USCC, seeing normal people that aren't in the industry that actually get really excited when they see this stuff. Whereas,
mhm,
industry people or content creators are like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
mhm,
So it is kind of cool to see the normal people that are like, oh my God, I've never seen a staccato before. Or I've never gotten to see
mhm,
all these cool guns in one place and the
mhm,
experience. And they had a really cool, they actually had a tractor trailer inside the venue, inside the
mhm,
conference hall,
mhm.
and it with two shooting lanes in it,
Awesome.
like 15-yard shooting lanes indoors. So it was awesome. They basically all the companies that were there each had their guns. So
Yeah.
a lot of people got to shoot some really nice guns that day and have a good time.
Yeah. So M. Avens is bringing this up while we're talking about smaller shows. Gundy's.
Oh
Gundy's
yeah.
is a show that's going to happen. I'm actually going to try to get the guys from the Gundy's to come on. They've been on. Are you guys going to that this year?
No, we actually did get an honorable mention. I was really surprised. I was like, how did they find out about
So
us?
I'm going to get into this here. So M.
Hmm.
Avens says Gundy's vote Hank Strange for top voices of the 2A. No, don't do that. Don't vote for me. Seriously, I'm not saying that to reverse psychology anyone. Do not vote for me. Here's who I suggest everyone should vote for. This is my
Crumpy.
choice. John Crump, that's the dude I think everyone should vote
Hmm.
for top voices of the 2A, and I mean that wholeheartedly. I'm gonna post this. This is a this is a thing I made. I did post some stuff on social media. I'm gonna do it again. So are you guys also in that top voices of the 2A? Wait, don't tell me. I'm gonna look.
No,
Um,
no, no. Like I said, we were an honorable mention. I was even surprised that we were there.
mhm,
So
okay.
and Joe was really surprised. I showed her the
hmm
other day. I was like, yeah, I was looking through the categories to see who we know is in all these categories.
Okay.
And so I've been voting for Crumpy, and in that they let you vote for multiple people. So
hmm
I've given Crumpy and Guns and Gadgets the votes in that
Absolutely. Guns.
category.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Jared does a great job there too.
A hundred
And then
percent.
I threw Johnny B a couple because I love Johnny B. I met him before, and he's a good
Right.
guy. We had a lot of fun with him. But
Yes.
I think that Crumpy and Jared definitely deserve a lot of those votes. People are
Yeah.
out there. Then we saw our buddy that I met through you, Mr. Big Kid.
Oh
So
yes,
he and
Mr.
I
Big
actually
Kid.
talk pretty much on the regular now. We play Halo together.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so he's become one
I
of my
like
good
him, man.
buddies.
Him and
We're almost yeah,
Jonathan are good dudes.
he's a really good guy. So I like him a lot. And he's up for
Yeah.
like a breakout content creator of the year. So I've been throwing some
Sweet.
votes his way.
Yes. So look, I like the idea of the Gundies. I
Yeah.
want to say this, and I've had the guys on. I'm gonna try to have them on. I think that all of January is the voting for that.
Mhm.
And I would definitely say to people that I know there's some controversy about it because people are like, well, if you vote, you got to sign up, and then you get your email stuff. When they came on, they said they're not going to overuse that. And actually, I spoke to someone who's been doing like testing to see if that's what happened, and that person told me that they did very few email outs, exactly what they promised. So,
Mhm.
um, I think those are good dudes, and I support what they're doing. The thing is, so for example, in this two-way thing, I'm gonna put this on screen just to show you.
Mhm.
Okay, so let me see here. I need to I
The
need to find.
choices are pretty varied.
So well, okay, in the two-way thing, they literally, it's let me see here if I can find it. In the two-way category, man, it's 42 people.
Yeah.
In the voices of the two-way, okay, here we go. I think is this it? Yes. So here we go. This is it here. So I'm gonna put this on screen. So these are all the people in Voices of the 2A. Fudbusters, KP
Mhm.
Richards, who I don't know who that is. Hodge Twins. Um, uh, what the hell does it? Hodge. I know the Hodge Twins, right? And I've got no problem with them, but I don't know how they got in there. We like shooting, cool dudes. Those are my dudes. Ryan Kleckney, I don't even know who that is. I'm not trying to knock him. Guns and Gadgets, absolutely. AWR Hawkins, I also don't know who that is. Pew Pew Jew, I do know. What is this? Damarasso? I don't even know who that is. Right? Um, so let's see here. I'm still going. Legally Armed America, know him. Very good dude. Maj Teray, good dude. Antonio Okafor, awesome. Hank Strange, total idiot. Uh, you know, let's see here. Who else is in here? The typical liberal. Oh, so some of these things I need to read out. Colio Noir, great. IV88, don't even know who that guy is. Diana Moeller. Military Arms Channel, awesome. Louder with Crowder. Why? Why is he in this thing? I know he supports the Second Amendment and he's a good guy and all that, but why is he even in this thing? Good Patriot. Alec Starlatus is in there. Gun Owners Radio, Joel Patrick. Dana Vigi, Beyond the Unknown, Reno May Guns. Okay, he's cool. DC Project. That's like two for. Okay. Diana Muller in the DC Project again. USCCA, the Gun Collective is in there. Armed Scholar, Talking Lead, great podcast. Official, Bonnier Otten, John Crump, the only person you should vote for. USA Carry, Firearms Chronicles, not done. Philip Riboli, don't even know who the hell that is. Johnny B, cool dude. Gun Freedom Radio, Madison Gawthorne, Gun Guy TV, also a good dude. Graham Allen and Liberty. Like, I mean, I don't know if that makes any sense to you. This is one freaking category.
I know that's the only thing. I think that it's there's a little bit too many people, but I think that I think they want to acknowledge a lot of people as well. But it's interesting to see
It's
something
too
like
much.
politicians there and organizations as a whole. So I think that if they want to put organizations, then they should just put top organization and advocacy, and then they can have like FPC.
Is this what they did in every category? Has 40 something people up for it.
Every category has a lot of people.
That's not, you're not curating what you're doing. So as much as I love those guys and I support the Gundies and I'd like to see it get better and I'd like to see people who are doing this kind of work get awarded, I'm not against them having people vote and everything. I think that's cool. I think they should make an NFT, okay, and give that out to everyone so everyone gets like one vote on all of these categories, and you use that and it's secure and everything. People can go there and vote and then still win really cool stuff. But I think they should curate these things, like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something. Everyone doesn't have to be up every year and then you try to get, you don't have to do that. I'll be happy to promote these guys every year because I think it's great to have something in the world that's giving kudos back to the gun community, and I know that cool organizations that help me out like Barnauls and all that's involved with this. But for crying out loud.
I think that one's the biggest one. The other ones are a little bit more manageable. But
yeah. M. Avon says most categories don't have that many. It's insane. Just pick some people. There's lots of good people in there. Everyone doesn't have to get nominated every year, bro.
Well, and like I said, they gave a lot of honorable mentions, so you can throw everyone else there and still show recognition.
Yeah, I mean it's so silly, And I feel like you don't have to put my name in there for me to promote it. I will be happy to talk about it, happy to promote it, happy to have them come on, happy to go there if I'm available.
I want to know how they go through the initial process and like how they found us. Because
they just go, let's just pick all these people and throw them in here so they can promote our event that we're doing, and then we'll get people in there. And I don't know. I'm trying to be honest about it, and I told you guys I really like these guys and I think it's a good idea, but that's just totally insane. And then imagine some big people in there, right? So if there's a big person in there and you keep doing this every year and they have a big following, then what happens from that? Like if you don't have a big following, does that mean you're not doing the Lord's work for the gun community? Yeah. So
well, I mean, like a lot of things, it'll end up being everything ends up being a little bit of a popularity contest when you let people vote. But again, like you said, I like the concept of it because it's again about normalizing the gun community and really creating a new culture, because we've already seen like the left has taken everything. We really don't have any, well, not until recently, but when it comes to music, movies, TV shows, and obviously the news media, that all slants heavily to the left.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
anything that we can create, we almost have to create our own new institutions here. So
Yeah.
we need our own. We don't watch the Golden Globes or the Oscars. We
Oh
watch the
man.
Gundies.
Yeah, I'd
We
rather
watch
die.
video game awards or something like that. That's
Yeah.
what we do. Now we've created our own space, and now we compete. And if they want to watch it, they can.
Yeah.
And it also gives it a little bit of legitimacy, because a lot of the arguments that you see, well, let's take like Christian movies, for example. They have a good message, but a lot of them are pretty low budget and a little bit cheesy sometimes. And that's a reputation that a lot of conservative or Christian movies have. So when we can step up the game and show like, no, we're just as good or better at this stuff as you are. Like I said, Eric July creating his own comics.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the Gundies. That's what you got to do. You have to start somewhere, show that community camaraderie. Even new people that come in, they might be like, this seems a little bit silly. But then you're like, well, it's fun, and it gives you an excuse to
Yeah.
hang out. And then you get to see a lot of people that you may like interact with one another and maybe meet one another. That's always kind of cool. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, I saw this person on this podcast. Look, I didn't know that they were
Yeah.
friends with that person, or look at the work that they're doing.
Put a
So
team together and let that team, put together a team of dudes from the community. How about that?
mhm.
And say,
Yeah.
listen, we're gonna put together a council here and figure out who to pick 3 people, man, or
The
at
Academy.
the most
Yeah.
like 5 or 6 or something like that at the most, man. But really
Mhm.
pick 3 people and say these are the people. Let folks vote if they want to. Let us vote. You can even say for the folks in the industry, when we make your particular NFT might have a little bit more weighting or whatever because you're in the industry, but the folks out there, so you're kind of balancing
Mhm.
the popular vote with what your peers think about you. This would be a more valuable thing, and I think if you put that kind of work into it, you'll get a better result than like when I'm telling you, I don't know if you realize this. I don't need that stuff. I really
Mhm.
don't need it, right? But when I looked there, and I didn't believe someone sent me these screen captures because I was like, "There's no way there's that many dudes in
Yeah.
this thing," and that's why I said this. I'm only going to support one person, and I genuinely think that John Crump does a lot of.
Mhm.
I don't know that he's going to win it, but I really wish that he did, because I don't think people really understand like what John puts into this, and he doesn't have to do it other than he genuinely believes in America, the Constitution, the Second Amendment, freedom, and all of that.
Mhm.
Um, but you could do this. Look at what the Nigerians have done with movies, as an example. I know this is a little bit of a stretch, but I used to live in Nigeria. Okay, I lived there for 3 years. I never ever thought that Nigeria would be like third or fourth to America, Bollywood, etc. I think they're like third or something, right?
Wow.
In terms of, you go on Netflix right now, you could find a ton of Nigerian movies on there, and they've stepped their game up. Like the
Mhm.
cinematography and all that is insane. And this is from actually putting in the work. Or like I look at what is the show that I look at? Heist, which I think is made in Spain or something like that. People in other countries are making awesome programming.
Oh, better than American programming, I would say.
Yes, just do the
Yeah.
work.
Yep.
Do the work, bro. You
Well,
know?
and then sometimes it's not even that difficult. It's just like, don't make it political, don't make it
Mm-hmm.
woke,
Mm-hmm.
and just tell a decent story, and people will eat it alive. Now, that's what
Yeah.
I was having this conversation actually with Joe, and then actually with KD
Mm-hmm.
the other day.
Shout out to KD,
And
by the way. I think
yeah,
we're gonna
KD's
get
amazing
him on
dude.
sometime soon. Not exactly
Yeah.
sure, but we'll get him. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's awesome. So we were speaking to him the other day, and we were saying, it's so easy. People on the conservative or the freedom movement side are so desperate for anything that's why we get grifted so easily. Sometimes you see people come in and they're like, yeah, I'm totally pro gun and I'm right wing, and everybody's like, yes, oh
Here.
my god, it's Kanye Trump, yes, he's the greatest thing ever. And then you're like, well, maybe he's not the best example to follow. I
Yeah.
mean, you could
If
be
Kanye said he was pro gun, every
yeah.
single freaking manufacturer will send him some guns.
Yeah. So
Yes,
I'm
you're
like,
right.
we got to pull. We still have to have some standards here. Not that Kanye is bad or anything, but what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Think about, like, don't just accept
We're
people at
breaking.
face
Oh,
value.
yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, no, actually, we didn't go for break. Actually, yeah. I need to insert a break here. My bad on that. Yeah, but you're right, man. I think that it's not to knock the fact that if Kanye came over,
yeah,
it would be cool if he saw that light or whatever, if anyone does. But that we tend to overreact to things, and the things that
Hmm.
are super important we don't do well enough. And it's a shame. It's a shame that there's so many talented people that are out there speaking for the gun community and the Second Amendment rights of people, the right for Americans and people around the world to defend themselves. And we're just not, as a whole, I don't know, like, I don't want to say the industry because I guess even though all the money's there, they're not 100% responsible or whatever community. It's a shame that the world that we live in is structured where people only get recognition for like weird parts of this, and we fetishize everything. So
Hmm.
if it's like some Navy SEAL dude, we'll fetishize him, and I'm not. Hey, those guys deserve their kudos, but we overdo it, and then there's a bunch of other people over here who we don't give any kind of love, no kind of kudos to, no kind of
Hmm.
rewards, no kind of like, okay, good job. This is what we're gonna do to help push you forward. That's not a recipe for success.
No, definitely not.
So I know I'm getting a little, but listen, 42, 43 people in one category, come on.
They
you
gotta
know
work. They gotta work on it. They gotta work on it. But
yes, and they tell
I
me that. I think there's ways they could
yeah.
do this. We could use technology and make it better. What do you say?
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely think so.
Yeah.
I think they're still new too, and they're trying to figure it out, and I think they want to give people a lot of just a shout out to grow it, and hopefully it'll get better once it gains more traction.
Yeah.
So,
So in this last segment that we have here, man, I want to take some time. We're in January, We got a whole year in front of us. What's your predictions for the year? What are you looking forward to? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think we should be up on or find out more about or look more into? What are your thoughts?
well, I think that we have to maintain constant vigilance. I think that people are starting to wake up with everything that all the COVID tyranny that occurred over the last 2 years, and there's definitely a fatigue. You're starting to see that even the people involved in the government are starting to let loose some of the facts there and starting admitting to things that they weren't willing to, that were called conspiracy theories before, that people would
Mm-hmm.
get banned off of Twitter or YouTube for even mentioning,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
now are becoming the official
Are
line.
those people
So
going to come back though? Are those people going to come back and get their followings or their voice back? You think?
I think that some people, well, I think I saw that. I was just looking that CNN lost 90% of its key audience.
Oh wow, really? How
So
many
yeah,
percent?
that's the headline. Yeah, 90%.
Wow,
So I
ninety
think that we're
percent.
starting to see a backlash here. I think when you saw that when Rogan had Dr. Robert Malone on his show and you saw the ratings, they came out with a chart that showed that he had like 11 or 14 million, one of those numbers. It doesn't really matter because it's still 5 times higher than the closest uh, primetime show, which was Tucker Carlson. He had like 2.9 million viewers to
Mm-hmm.
Rogan's like more than 10 million.
Yeah, I was
And
looking at
every
I was
other,
looking at some stuff about this guy. Yeah,
yeah,
crazy.
and every other channel, news channel. First of all, Fox had, out of the top six, Rogan obviously was number one. The rest of the top six, the other five, were all Fox News programs.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, it was all CNN and MSNBC, and they were less than like 2 million viewers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've seen the downward trend. I think I just saw in the background here that Biden's approval rating is down to 33%.
Mm-hmm. I
So
would
I
imagine.
think, yeah, I think now once you start people that I'm going to take your job away if you don't listen to me, if you don't take this drug that doesn't even work very well at this point,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that for some reason Pfizer, for they can hide their data on it for 75 years until now a judge is telling them no, you have to basically
Yeah.
release this within 18
Also, there's
months.
a significant number of people who have injuries because they took these things. I'm
Yeah.
not saying everyone's going to get that. I don't believe that, but there are people who are going to have injuries. It's kind of crazy the whole thing that's happened here. So you think we're going to
Yeah.
get like do you think we're going to get a red wave that's going to be the signal of a pushback, or are we going to get actual like pitchforks and torches in this country?
I think it'll be a red wave. So I know I've always been pretty pessimistic on the course of the country. I'm not sure where we go. I don't think that we will go into a civil conflict yet. I think that if they were to maintain the COVID tyranny, and if Biden really, like, let's say the Supreme Court goes against the vax mandates, and they screw us over, and then Biden goes all in on that, I think that has a heavy risk. And it's funny because Andrew Yang basically came out with a tweet, and he ran for the Democrat
Mm-hmm.
Party for president, and he
Mm-hmm.
said pretty much that by the end of this year, this all has to be done. And I think he almost implied that after 3 years, people are going to start rebelling, and
Mm-hmm.
it might be a violent rebellion. So it's at this point, politicians need to be very careful, and they need to start weighing their options and realize you might be able to get away with this in blue states, but you'll never be able to do it in red states or federally. So I think if they can't do anything federally, you won't see a conflict, because I think people, like, just think of a perspective. If your life is good in Florida and Texas, do you care that people in New York City have vaccine passports? No, that's their problem. That's why we voted the way that we did in our
I think it
place.
sucks. It sucks because I live
Yeah.
there. It sucks because in the time I lived there from the 80s to the late 90s, and I cannot believe personally that people living in New York, regardless of what their political affiliations are or whatever, that they're going for shit like that. But look, the new mayor of New York said that he's going to let non-citizens vote in New York.
Yep.
So what's the freaking point?
No, there is no point. There's no
Yeah,
country if you don't have if you allow non-citizens to vote. I don't care if they live there. I don't care if they're legal. If they're not citizens, they don't get to vote. That's just the way that it works.
yeah,
Because then you're going, think about what you can have happen. Those, if they start getting to a majority, or let's say that they all vote with the left, they're going to vote for a welfare state because it's going to benefit them. And can you imagine you're allowing people that don't necessarily pay taxes to vote on things that are funded by taxpayer money?
yeah.
That's
Well,
just insane. That's
the
insane. Now, obviously, there are a lot of people that don't pay taxes that are citizens, but that's a different story. They're at least citizens, and so the
yeah.
benefit stays there.
the
But there are people that have
idea the
no
idea that
state.
you can vote in New York City if you're not a citizen of America, that you can vote in New York City is antithetical to an
Yep.
organization. Now that might seem crazy, like, well, I mean, not an organization, to a civilization, right?
Yeah.
Or even a community. That might seem like, oh, but that's kind of mean. Why do people have to do that? Because there has to be a line. There's either a
Yeah.
line or there's no line.
Yep.
Okay? There's either order or there's chaos. If there's no line and I see that, oh, people can just come here and vote, well, I'm just going to bully my way through everything. I'll be, well, fuck it then. If I've got guns, I'm going to control who's running things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the agreement that we have as a society, as a civilization. Like, hey, dude, there's a line for this. You're not going to just cut in front of everyone. So I am an immigrant. I
Mm-hmm.
told you that in the beginning of this thing, that my family came here to America. I didn't have complete status. I lost out because of it. It didn't make my life worse.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
happy to be here,
I've
you
just
know?
never understood the audacity of the left in this country when you look at even European countries that are progressive, and their immigration laws are much stricter. Australia, obviously before COVID, now they're insane, but even
Yeah.
before then, it was extremely difficult to immigrate to those countries. They had a very high standard, and it's because they understand. Even Bernie Sanders, before he got into all this BS, he said that open borders was a Koch brothers conspiracy. So that it was the right wing because they wanted cheap labor, and the Chamber of Commerce wanted it. Because even Bernie Sanders back in the day, he understood as a socialist, I can't let millions of people come into this country if I'm going to give universal health care to the
And then give
American
everybody
citizens. It's
everything. Because
unaffordable.
then why would we do anything?
Yeah,
Why would we do anything?
even he understood it's unaffordable. Now he's a total hypocrite and he sold out on that idea. But that was one of the smart things that he said. I was like, wow, my God, Bernie actually told the truth. That's crazy. And a lot of people on the right don't like to hear that now too. I
Hmm.
think that the president of the Chamber of Commerce just came out the other day and she said she would like double the amount of legal immigrants in the United States. And I was like, so because our job market is imploding, companies want cheaper labor instead in the United States. So I mean, look, at some point we do have to figure something out because obviously China uses essentially slave labor. So American products are always going to be more expensive. But my strategy would be, and this is something that actually my old dad really thought of. He's like, why is it that we export everything to China and we have an illegal immigration problem? Even if we can never really bring all these jobs back to the United States because US labor is just way too expensive, how about we take it to South and Central America and build factories there instead? Because it will be a dual benefit. One, you'll be benefiting countries that don't hate us, that are in our hemisphere, that are connected to us. And two, if the economies of those countries thrive more, you will have less people that want to come to the United States illegally because they won't have to.
Mm-hmm.
So we still get the benefit of getting products that are more inexpensive. You can bring some products back to the US. Like I think high technology products definitely have to come to
We've
the
kind of,
US,
I
like
think
chip
we've kind,
manufacturing.
yeah, we've kind of
Uh,
been doing that, right? A lot of American cars are made in Canada or Mexico.
yeah, yeah,
And I think the reason why we're not seeing that more is a lot of, like, I'm from Guyana. That's a socialist country. They can call it whatever they
yeah.
want. And there's a lot of socialist, communist things, places like that. I think if those countries really wanted to do better and stepped up and truly embraced it, I think the problem we have is they don't really do it, right? A lot of other countries around the world will, like, they pay lip service to that, and then they
Mhm.
take stuff and also pay lip service to the crap from a lot of these other, like, European nations that are, that are trying to do things. So I think that that's true, and that would be better. And I even agree that obviously, people know we make better things. I was
Yep.
looking at some. I'm into watches, and they were talking about Swiss made, right? So if you like what's the pinnacle of watches? The Swiss made watches, right?
Hmm.
And the funny thing is that made in Switzerland is actually way under made in America. Like, the rules for made in America are more strict
Wow.
than the rules for made in Switzerland. You can look it up.
Hmm.
The rules for made in Switzerland is, yeah, about 60-70% of this stuff has to be, technically assembled here, but it can come from, stuff can come from somewhere. Like, made in America, if you look up the made in America rules, it says this must be mostly, like,
Yeah.
90 something percent made, everything, the parts made here, assembled here, in order for it to be called made in America. So we
Hmm.
are we are a better thing, and I think there's a lot of examples around the world of people liking and wanting what we make here in America. It's just how we don't market it properly,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and I think that Americans do need to accept that we do need to buy more American made products because China is going to own us because of that, especially when it comes to chip manufacturing and things like
Hmm.
that. We really have to step that up in the future. And I think that we have to be willing to accept, not because of inflation, but if you want American made products, they're going to be a little bit more expensive, but they're going to be worth the cost. And I think that we need to move, more towards focusing on the quality of goods that are produced in the United States so that people know, okay, I can get something in China that might be half the cost, but it's also going to last less than half as long or
Yeah,
be less reliable. So
I
I think
think some
that's really what
states
needs to be worked on.
some states need to do that. I don't know if the true, like, heart that it's going to take to do it, but there's some states that should just go, fuck it. We are going to let me tell you something. This chip thing, when it started, they were like, this is just going to go for 2
Hmm.
years, or it might go for a year or a couple of years. I could tell you right now, when I talk to dealerships, they tell me this situation's not anywhere near to getting better. It's not. They just cannot. The chip thing is in a horrible state. How the hell is that possible?
Yeah, it's because we outsourced it and we didn't want. Oh, it's multiple reasons. We outsourced things to the point where they became cheaper for companies, and also
Mm-hmm.
we, as the United States, has increased its environmental regulations. There's certain mining that we don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Lithium mining is pretty dirty. It's the not so hidden secret of electric cars that lithium is usually mined in pretty horrible conditions, and we get a lot of it from China. We have
Mm-hmm.
huge lithium deposits in the U.S. We need to re-tap into that. I think partially was the Chinese basically bought us out. They underbid us, and we didn't want to deal with the mining regulations that you have to deal with in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
I think once we get over that, our mineral deposits are big enough. I know that we're trying to bring some chip manufacturing back. I think Intel is, but that's what makes Taiwan a huge problem right now. Do
Mm-hmm.
I think that the U.S. should 100% protect Taiwan from a strategic perspective? If Taiwan didn't manufacture chips, then I would say no,
Yeah.
and because I'm over the U.S. having to defend
True.
everybody. I think if we want to
Mm-hmm.
sell ridiculous weapons to other people, we can totally do that. If you want to buy all, it's kind of how Trump was. We'll sell you big, beautiful weapons, but if you want our troops around, you're going to have to pay us a lot of money. I'm almost like, I don't even want you to pay us money for our troops. I don't want American lives involved in foreign countries that aren't our direct allies.
Mm-hmm.
So Taiwan, unfortunately, that's where I think 80% of chips are manufactured. So from a strategic perspective, until we build our own factories, we almost have no choice, but we have to defend Taiwan. because if Taiwan is gone and the Chinese own it, that's it. They
Yeah.
basically have the vast majority of chip manufacturing in the entire world, and we're going to sit here for like 10 years before we can catch up to them, which would be awful. At
Same
that point,
reason
we'd
we
be
have to
hosed.
defend Saudi Arabia, man.
Yeah.
You
Well, I
know,
mean, this, yeah, it's, I
I
think
mean,
Saudi, see, that's another problem though. We have so much oil in the US. The
I
problem
agree.
is
We have so
it's
much
so,
natural gas that we don't even need oil. We
well,
can run
and people,
vehicles that exist off of
yeah.
compressed natural gas, and we won't
And,
even
and,
need that.
and too many voters on the left just don't understand. We are not going to lessen our use of gasoline for like 1 or 2 decades. Let's be perfectly honest. It's not going to happen because one, there are too many cars. A lot of people keep cars for more than 10 years, especially people that they can't afford to buy a new car. Electrical cars are still more expensive than a gasoline car.
Hmm.
So that's going to be unaffordable for a lot of people. Logistically, there are some areas where charging infrastructure would be almost impossible to do. Think of cities that have sidewalk street parking, and think about the amount of infrastructure you'd need to get if you need to put superchargers basically where every single parking meter is.
Yeah.
That's
See,
massive,
I see.
massive.
I see the electric car thing kind of like it's similar to Starlink. We were talking about Starlink that I have it. I live
Mhm.
out in the boonies. Starlink is not for everyone. Starlink, I think I was looking at something where they said even if the capacity of what Starlink, the people that Starlink could serve is somewhere between
Mhm.
4 and 8 million. I mean, I think AT&T is giving people like high speed internet in in the cities or close to the cities. Like what are they? AT&T's 20 million. Some other
Mhm.
companies are 40 million or whatever. So it's great though. It's a great idea for people out in the boonies
Oh
like
yeah.
myself. And it's the same thing with electric cars. They are expensive, but believe it or not, electric cars, that I see electric cars as something that I'm less likely to switch up.
Mhm.
For example, especially Tesla, because you can really and truly there's not a lot of moving parts, so it lasts
Mhm.
longer, and it's software upgrades. So you can
Yeah.
upgrade the software and get things over having to get a whole new car. And the few parts that you might have to change, like tires or whatever, is not a big deal, and you can
Mhm.
spruce up things and make it better. But it also electric cars works for people like us out in the boonies. We have a charging station right here at the house.
Yep.
Lola can go up and down and charge right here when everyone else is suffering with gas prices or whatever. And whether people want to accept this or not, gas prices are kind of subsidized in America versus what's happening in other places around the
Oh
world.
yeah.
They should really and truly, our gas prices should be something between $6 and $8 a gallon. Um, Based on what's happening in other places, right? And based
Mhm.
on how we're actually getting this gasoline. So I think it works for people in the boonies, especially with the range.
Yeah.
So our Tesla has like a 300-mile range. Lola, she's commuting. It's about 30, 40 miles each way. So 80 miles a day, maybe 100. So she can do that for a couple of days, and then charge up here
Mhm.
and then every now and then maybe charge somewhere else. But I agree with you. If you're in the city, where are you going to put that car?
Yeah.
Much less charge it.
I mean, I see in like even in the apartment complex that we live in, there's two electrical car chargers. There are like 7 electric cars in this
Hmm.
parking garage,
Hmm.
and one of the chargers is broken, and it has
Yeah.
been broken for months.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I wouldn't be able to own an electric car here because I could never guarantee that my car would be fully topped off because there's 8 other people that want to use the same charger.
Yeah.
So I was like, that just sucks.
Yeah.
So
LV Louis Cipher says if the power grid goes down, guess what? You're hitchhiking. Nope. No. We've
I
got
mean,
generators. We could,
yeah,
we could create electricity off of natural gas, propane, or
yeah,
whatever. So that's
and
not
the
true
argument that I would make
necessarily.
with that is, look, we've been through enough hurricanes to know the gasoline runs out too.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, you might be equally hosed with a gasoline
Yeah.
car.
If
Now,
things are really bad, you're probably not going anywhere.
yeah, if they're that bad,
Yeah.
that's what I would say. But you can always get, like, you can get solar panels if you want, to
Hmm.
go all in.
Hmm.
Obviously, with a gas powered car, the one thing that you can do that you can't do with an electric car is that you can carry extra fuel with you.
Hmm.
If Tesla made it so that you could like tow another battery behind you and not lose that much efficiency, that would be kind of cool. I
Yeah.
think like you just attach it to the hitch and it's a rolling battery.
I would never not have a gas powered car. That's the thing
Oh
I
yeah.
would say about that. But I think, electric cars have everything has look, like you don't have one kind of gun. You have multiple
Yep.
kinds of guns. this is the thing, and everything, every situation doesn't fit every person.
Yep.
I think some things, there are things that will work better for people in the city. Things like where you don't really own a car, but
Yep.
maybe it's there when you need it, or smaller cars, or whatever it is that will work for people in the city. But I'll tell you
I
what,
mean,
I never want
yeah,
to
we've
live in
seen
a
Uber and
city
Lyft
again.
work for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. But I never want to live in a city. But there are
No
people
way.
who want to do it. So knock yourself out and go do that because you need to do it. But I think that one of the things about living out in the country, I can't live anywhere else. And one of the things is you start to learn and think about ways to be independent. I would put up solar panels at some point here, and that's in my plan. But I would build a battery housing or whatever and store. We've got a lot of sun here, that's why I would do it. And I would store some of that and then use it. But I would also at the same time put a whole home generator and run it off of propane. Because there's a crap ton of that. I could put a massive tank here that I could probably run the house for a month.
Oh, and then the
So
cool thing about look at the new F-150 Lightning. You can get it so that it can be the generator for your house if the power goes out.
mhm.
So it'll use its
I like
battery
that.
charge to charge your
Yeah.
stuff. That's awesome.
You know what's
So
funny? Tesla's first came out with that and people didn't use it. But once again, it's because where are those people and what were they doing? That's something I would use. I would like to be
yep.
able to have something like that, that if my car is fully charged but the power goes out, it just goes boom. Let me kick the house on
Well, I mean,
until
it makes sense. Ford knows that that's something that Ford's buyers, especially of a pickup truck, would appreciate.
they're thinking. They're
So,
thinking. We
yeah.
don't know. They might eliminate that for the same reason that Tesla wound up eliminating it. If you don't use things, they go away.
Yep.
This is the thing that happens. We might think things are practical, but most people are sheep.
Yeah.
And most people don't get why that's practical, and therefore they don't do it. So, and all of that being said, I can't wait. I would love to get a Cybertruck, and I think the Cybertruck is going to have that ability, if I'm not mistaken.
It probably will. It should.
Yeah, yeah.
And if it didn't, I'm sure they saw Ford with the Lightning, and Elon was like, "We got to do it. Just add it. Who cares? It's not a big deal."
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, that's why I got this van. This van has a generator, and
Yep.
it has batteries. By the way, so I can do a whole bunch of stuff like that, man. I can plug stuff up to it. I can go in it if things get tough or whatever. I can move and go off somewhere. So I know not everyone could do that, but that's why the van life is awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So listen, man. As usual, this is why I was really glad you were coming on today because I knew I was when I started this. You know that, right? I was in rough shape.
Yep.
Yeah, but we get along pretty good, man. Whether it's me and
Always.
you,
Yeah.
or me, you, Joanne. There's like some people that you always, I feel that way with with KD, Walter, and
Absolutely.
Patrick, a whole bunch of folks out there. So we're at the end of the show here. We're gonna wrap this up. I want to take this opportunity. We're gonna have you come back. I'm gonna run in the end, but I'm gonna
Mhm.
come back with the words of wisdom. But I really want to take this opportunity to ask everyone who's listening to this on audio, who's watching it live right now, watching it later on YouTube. Can you guys please go subscribe to Latinos Locked and Loaded, right?
Locked and loaded Latinos.
Oh man, mess it up again. Locked and Loaded Latinos on YouTube. That's where they need to go.
Locked and loaded Latinos.
Yes, please go over there to YouTube. I would like to see these guys hit that milestone of 1,000 subscribers. It's a good fun show for you guys to don't just subscribe and then don't watch it or participate in it. Some really if you like this conversation, trust me, it's an awesome conversation over there. And then you get to look at Joanna, who when she gets real riled up gets extra cute. So you can't beat that, man. You know that. I'm not
True.
lying, right?
It's true.
Yes,
It's true.
absolutely. So,
I
here,
know.
tell the folks where you want them to go and how they can follow you guys. Go ahead. What are you gonna
Yeah.
say?
Yeah. Well, I know Lola brought up Star Wars
Oh,
in there. I know we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but
yes.
if anybody wants to check out, and since we're plugging ourselves, I did have a segment that's about 10 or 12 minutes long that I clipped out of our last episode on a rant of why things Star Wars is dead. So
Hmm.
if you want to know what my opinion is, I already have it out there and you guys can check it out.
Very
It's
good.
at Locked and Loaded Latinos. That's ends with an ampersand, so not spelled out. It's youtube.com/c/locked loaded Latinos. You can find us on all the social media on that tag. I'm Puerto Rican Pistolero. If you want to just follow me, and if you want to follow Joe, she's Latina Locked and the letter N loaded, locked and loaded.
Absolutely. By the way, I think the Book of Boba Fett is pretty good. It's better than the movies.
Yeah, you think so?
Yes, and the Mandalorian was good. I don't know, and I was actually paying for it and canceled it, but I have Disney anyway because of my one of the cell phones we have to use for this podcast. So I have
Here's
free Disney. That's the only
yeah.
reason why they see. Otherwise, I would just totally be pirating that stuff if I wanted to
Here's
look at it.
the brief thing that I can say before before we go
Hmm.
is no. Okay, so all of this stuff now is taking place before the newer movies, 7, 8, and 9.
Hmm.
So just think to yourself, eventually it's going to get to the point where Han Solo's a deadbeat dad who gets killed. Luke Skywalker's some cynical bum who gave up on the Jedi Order, drinking milk from some weird creatures. So it doesn't matter what happens in The Mandalorian or anything like that. Luke Skywalker still turns out to be a punk, and Star Wars sucks in
Yeah,
the end. So I'm
you know,
like,
it's
it
true
doesn't matter
unless they
what they do.
retcon it. It's true
Yeah,
unless they retcon it, which is
they have
insane.
to basically
Yeah.
retcon those movies and
Hmm.
reset, and then they could do it. But I think if that's always the future, it'll always be in your head. Like, doesn't matter if Luke Skywalker shows up on The Mandalorian, he's a punk. They turned him
Hmm.
into a punk.
Yeah,
So
I agree with you.
yeah.
It's kind of sad what happened there. Absolutely, I agree with you on that. I don't. It makes me think Lucas wasn't that creative in the first place. I mean, first of all, he stole everything from Dune. All of this stuff you can track back to
Oh, and
Dune.
Seven Samurai, a lot of it is based on a lot of different things. It's like The Matrix, where it's like
Yeah, all
based
the
on
sci-fi
different
stuff is
things.
from Dune, though. Every single
Yeah.
thing, every single
Mhm.
thing in there is from Dune. But it was tougher to actually get Dune done. This a whole other thing which we got to do. We're gonna have movie nights this year, so we should
Yes.
probably get you in on a movie night.
Yeah,
Um,
that's something that we've been wanting to do on our New Year's, or the episode before New Year's. We actually had Beth Alcazar from USCCA.
hmm.
She's like Joe's best friend now.
Hmm.
They're super close, and Jay and Argo Jay on, and we pretty much talked for 4 hours, and we talked movies and stuff like
Hmm.
that. And everybody told us like, you guys should do this like once a month.
Hmm.
So Joe and I were,
Absolutely,
yeah, we may not do it once a month, but if we can get a few people to do it, we might do it every couple months and get a
absolutely, man.
panel
It's
together to
it's
talk
always
about
fun.
movies.
Yeah, I think that kind of breakup is a fun thing. Okay, so listen, let me run the end in here, and then I'm gonna come right back with Puerto Rican Pistolero is gonna give us words of wisdom. Big thanks to everyone watching us, hanging out here with us. We really appreciate you guys for finding us over here, coming over here. If you're watching or listening to this and you want to do it live, it's on Utreon. All right, let me run in the end. All right, guys, thanks so much. We do rip the audio out of this and throw it up on iTunes and all your other favorite places to listen to audio podcasts. You can get us on Audible, on Amazon, just anywhere. You can actually go. We wouldn't be able to keep the Who Moved My Freedom podcast going without thing there. Wrong thing. Went to the wrong thing. Yeah, I do that every single time. So you can actually go to hankstrange.com and listen to the podcast if you want to. But we're on Amazon, we're on Audible, a whole bunch of different places if you want to listen while you're driving to work or working or whatever. Okay, Rolando, my friend, words of wisdom.
Just stay vigilant out there. There are going to be a lot of people that are going to start waking up, and it could be difficult uh, to not feel any mercy for a lot of the people that have been blind over the last few years. But try to be patient with them. You can do a little bit of what I told, a little bit of I told you so, but try not to be too mean about it. If you think that there are people that really are sincere, like we just got duped, man. Like we got owned, and I totally didn't see past the rage that I had for Trump or for whatever reason, and now I realize, like, yeah, it sucks. So be willing to bring those people in. There are a lot of potential people that are going to wake up, and yeah, show them the way in, and see if you can help them out.
Absolutely. Well said. Good points. All right, guys, we're out of here. Thanks so much to everyone. Let me press the buttons. Hold on, I got to press a bunch of buttons. Pressing them now.